Improved his fitness levels, movement. I think for a guy who's quite tall, he moves really well, defends well, so he's quite a complete player in the last couple of years.
We wish you the best of luck. Thanks, Novak.
Thank you.
We're now joined by Taylor Fritz. Hi, Taylor. In what ways is your game different from the last time you faced Novak?
I think I've improved a lot as a player. I don't think anything specifically has changed, but little parts are just, better, more improved. I feel a lot more just confident about my level.
What part of your game becomes most important in these matches against him?
I'd say it's probably the serve and return. He's such a good returner, so it's really important that I'm hitting my spots on my serve, serving well, and still getting those 3 points that I'm used to getting.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Go. Please welcome tonight's quarterfinalists. From Serbia, 24-time Grand Slam and 4-time U.S. Open champion, Novak Djokovic. States, returning finalist and the number 4 player in the world, Taylor
Fritz. Beastie Boys from NYC bringing the combatants onto the court tonight. It's Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz in quarterfinal action at the 2025 U.S. Open. Russ Thaler and David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross in the arena. Gil, good evening to you. What's your first feeling? What's your first thought after watching these two guys walk onto this court tonight?
Advantage on the crowd end for Taylor Fritz early on. There was obviously vocal support for Djokovic and definitely some rowdiness. But as far as the masses are concerned, you had a more kind of consistent through the stadium rise for Taylor Fritz when he was introduced coming out.
All right, so Taylor Fritz with the early advantage in crowd support. Novak Djokovic, we know, can work with it. He can work against it. Back when he was facing Roger and Rafa, he used to say, when they're chanting Rafa, I'm thinking they're chanting Novak. The players are now moving to the center of the court for the coin toss, the ceremonial pictures.
They look like a doubles team, Russ. They're both all in black. They could easily make a very fine-looking doubles team, and what a formidable doubles team they would be.
I wouldn't want to face them.
You have the clock in the 4 corners. Tower, let's say you have red and you have white. We have VR on this court. You can challenge foul shot, not up, ball going through the net, touch. You cannot challenge time violation, cut violation, or foot fault. Okay? Any questions? No? Novak? You have the trophies or the ball? Ball or trophies? Ball. Here we go. Trophies. Serve. Stay. Picture, please.
Novak Djokovic had the option to call the flip. He actually deferred the call to Taylor Fritz. Djokovic won the toss, has opted to serve, and they're both going to stay on the side of the courts they're standing on right now as the players take the ceremonial pictures and make their way to the baseline to start the quick warm-up. We'll take a quick break and be right back for first ball of this quarterfinal matchup between Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz at the 2025 U.S. Open. You're listening to U.S. Open Radio, presented by American Express.
Barrier breakers meet dream chasers.
Oh, no, he didn't! What did he just do? Benny Shelf, you're ridiculous!
This is where tradition meets trendy. And every moment, history.
Aryna Sabalenka finally gets her crown in Queens. She wins her first U.S. Open title.
The U.S. Open, spectacular away.
Nighttime on night 10 of the 2025 U.S. Open. It is Tuesday of the final week of this final major of the 2025 tennis season. It's Taylor Fritz, a finalist from a year ago, taking on the four-time champion of the U.S. Open, Novak Djokovic. Djokovic 10-0 against Fritz in his career. Their last meeting came in Shanghai last fall, where Djokovic won in two tight sets, 6-4, 7-6. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross joining us courtside at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Mac, I know you went back and looked at that match in Shanghai. What stood out to you about that match that might give you a little insight into what we might see tonight?
Well, Russ, that match, the score was 6-4, 7-6, but what struck me is how incredibly close it was. There was such a fine margin between victory and defeat in that match, showing me that Taylor Fritz is right there. Even though the overall record is 10-0, the most recent matchup was perilously close. And it was just Novak's incredible defensive capabilities and a few clutch moments that turned the tide in his favor. So it just got me thinking that, 1 year on from that matchup in Shanghai, roughly, I think that Taylor just might, just be 5% in better physical shape than he was. Maybe Novak 5% less than he was a year ago.
Taylor Fritz in his 10th U.S. Open main draw. It was 10 years ago that Taylor Fritz finished his junior career with a junior U.S. Open title, beating his good friend Tommy Paul in the final. Earlier in the year, Paul had beaten Fritz in the final of the junior boys tournament at Roland Garros. And Taylor Fritz still looking for his very first major title, and boy, would he love it to be nowhere more than here in his home slam, the U.S. Open. Of course, Novak Djokovic wants to put an end to the Fritz run right here in the final 8, but the two of them matching up, nothing better for us on this night. And a beautiful night it is, as it's been all tournament. The conditions should be perfect for high-end tennis that we expect to see.
Yes, and whoever gets through this titanic clash has got the very easy semi-final of Carlos Alcaraz to look forward to. So it's just like, I've just got to get through this one and I'll be fine. It's not like there's anyone like a Superman waiting for me in the semis.
Novak Djokovic will serve first to start this match. He's checking out the balls from the ball boys. He had 4 in his racket. He bounces 2 to the ball crew, pardon me. And Novak Djokovic is ready to serve to start this quarterfinal. First ball is up in the air from Novak Djokovic, right down the tee for an ace. Picking up where he's left off in his last couple of matches. Spot serving like really only he can at
For
the
the
moment.
first serve of the match, that was absolutely lethal. Right down the tee. Couldn't have placed it any better at 121.
15 love. Novak Djokovic again down the tee. Taylor Fritz forehand return to the backhand of Djokovic, who slices it into the top of the net, and it's 15 all.
Yes, a good stretch return from Taylor on the forehand. Curious that Novak sliced that down the line. The obvious play was to go back cross court.
So 15 all. Novak Djokovic into his windup here. Third point of the match. First game. Djokovic goes wide to the Fritz forehand, return deep down the middle to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a backhand to backhand. Now Djokovic down the line to the forehand of Fritz, down to the backhand of Novak, slice deep to the backhand of Fritz. Now Novak tries to go down the line, misses long and wide, and it's 15-30.
It's only early going, Russ, but I see Novak immediately trying to take the ball to the Taylor Fritz forehand rather than get engaged in backhand-to-backhand rallies. That's 2 points in a row. Let's see how that unfolds.
15-30. Taylor Fritz, slight opening in the first game of the match here on the Djokovic serve, which has been nearly impenetrable in his last few rounds. And that's a nice first serve that hits his mark down the tee. Fritz can only flail and put it into the net, and it's 30 all.
So we're at 30 all. 2 of the points Novak won just by his serve. The 2 balls that Fritzy got back in play, he won both those points.
So let's see what Taylor Fritz can do with the Djokovic first serve offering here. Djokovic has made first serves until now. Fritz will have a look at a second serve from Novak Djokovic. It's 30-all, second serve. Fritz remains in the same position he stood for the first serve return, which is about 5 feet behind the baseline. Now he takes a step forward, returns right on top of the baseline into the backhand of Djokovic. Back to the forehand of Fritz. Novak again going to the forehand of Fritz. Now cross-court and a backhand now from Taylor Fritz cross-court. Novak goes back to the backhand. And it's Novak Djokovic. Backhand down the middle to the backhand of Fritz. Novak Djokovic again, backhand to the backhand of Fritz. Fritz deep to the backhand corner of Djokovic. Fritz tries to go down the line and misses wide. And it's 40-30.
It's fascinating, Russ, because these two players could literally make 500 backhands cross court in a row if they both chose to go that route and not go down the line. Maybe it's just showing me with all these down the lines early that Novak doesn't really want to get into a war of attrition with Taylor Fritz, that he'd rather take the game on a little bit.
Game point for Novak Djokovic at 40-30. First serve here, and it's down the tee, but it's long and wide. Second serve coming. Game point for Novak Djokovic. This is the opening game of the quarterfinal match here at the 2025 U.S. Open between the four-time champ and the number 4 seed. Second serve from Djokovic. Forehand return from Fritz right down the middle with big speed. Djokovic replies to the forehand of Fritz. Now a backhand to the backhand of Fritz. Novak chipping and Fritz running around going inside in, having Djokovic run to his forehand. Now Fritz going to the open court with his backhand, but it clips the net, and Novak Djokovic holds for 1-love. Quickly down to Gil Gross as the players' change ends after the first game of the match. Gil, anything stand out to you from those opening salvos as they feel each other out in the match?
Yeah, I noticed a couple of things. One, Taylor Fritz is standing deeper on his first serve return and choosing to drive the return as opposed to standing up on the baseline and chipping, which is an option he likes to go to, particularly against big servers. But I think he feels as if Djokovic's +1 ball is too lethal, and he actually has to do more on the return, hence drive over the ball. The other thing that I want to kind of pick up on is Maka referring to Alcaraz awaiting in the semifinals. Djokovic does not want this to get too physical, I wouldn't think, because one thing that he has resented in his past several slam runs is that by the end, he's lost something physically when he's really needed it in the final weekend.
First serve from Taylor Fritz at love 1. Big serve down the tee. Djokovic returns, but Taylor steps into the court and pounds a forehand winner, and it's 15-love.
I think Gil makes a fantastic point. Of course, Novak is thinking big picture. I want to win this tournament, and the last thing he wants is a 5-hour marathon that's all cross-court rallies, a war of attrition. He's probably thinking, well, if I'm going to have enough energy to beat Alcaraz, I'm going to have to play an efficient, ruthless match here and try and win this in 3 hours or less.
Second serve now from Taylor Fritz to the backhand of Djokovic. Return to the backhand of Fritz, and Taylor pushes that backhand long, and it's 15-all.
I do think that that is how Novak plays his best tennis these days anyways. He is a lethal point shortener. His weapons do a lot of talking.
15-all now on the Taylor Fritz serve. Remember, he spoke beforehand that he needs some easy points. He wants to get through some service games with relative ease. He's missed a second serve now for the second point in a row. And Djokovic steps forward now to return the second serve of Fritz to the forehand of Novak, deep down the middle to the backhand of Taylor Fritz. And again, Fritz pushes that backhand long.
That is surprising to me. That cross-court backhand of Taylor Fritz is normally so solid, absolute money, but he's missed 3 or 4 in the first couple of games. Just a little bit of jitters, I suppose, but he will settle in. He will not miss many cross-court backhands as the night wears on.
15-30 now. First serve from Fritz, trying to go out wide, and into the net it goes. So that's 3 straight first serves missed from Fritz. Djokovic has won the last 2 points on the Fritz second serve, and an errant toss from Taylor. Now a second serve, kicking it to the backhand of Djokovic. Deep return into the forehand side of Fritz. Now a backhand from Taylor Fritz, cross-court to a backhand of Djokovic. Again, cross-court backhand to cross-court backhand. Djokovic steps around, goes to the forehand of Fritz. It goes cross-court to the forehand of Djokovic. Forehand to forehand they go until Djokovic now goes down the line. Backhand cross-court from Fritz. Djokovic can only slice it back, and Taylor goes behind Djokovic for a backhand winner, and it's 30-all.
Fantastic physical point. That, I think, is the type of point that Fritz will be looking to play. I don't think he would mind turning this into a really physical battle as the younger competitor on the court.
Djokovic almost not drop-shotted, but intentionally chipped short from a defensive position there.
First serve into the net. Again, Taylor Fritz not getting any freebies here on his first serve because he's only made one first serve in the first 4 points. Second serve that Djokovic returns to the middle of the court. Backhand long, trying to go inside out on the backhand from Taylor Fritz. That's the third backhand error off a Djokovic second serve return in this game. And the first break point of the match goes to Novak Djokovic. It's 30-40.
He's had a little trouble with the ball toss early, probably a sign of just a little bit of jitters. Novak Djokovic's ball toss is always flawless.
First serve at break point, down the tee to the forehand of Djokovic, return to the forehand of Fritz. Down the middle they go. Fritz forehand to forehand of Djokovic. Now Novak pulls Fritz wide. And now he goes to the backhand of Taylor Fritz. It goes cross-court backhand to Novak. Middle of the court, forehand inside into the forehand of Djokovic. Now a forehand from Fritz to the backhand of Novak, who goes cross-court to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand corner, and Fritz steps around his backhand and hits an open court inside-in forehand winner to save break point. It's deuce.
Another really physical point, and Taylor Fritz just stayed on the cross-court pattern there for a little while, and then Novak's attempted cross-court backhand clipped the tape, which slowed it down, enabling Taylor to slide around it and get a forehand on the ball instead of a backhand, which he can inflict so much more damage on that side.
Little extra time there for Taylor Fritz. 17-stroke rally, and it's deuce. First serve into the top of the net for Taylor Fritz. So Novak Djokovic has had great success returning these second serves deep to the backhand of Taylor, but that's a huge second serve as Fritz goes down the tee. Djokovic gets it back in play, and then Taylor overcooked the forehand.
Yes, I think at the last minute, Taylor realized, oh dear, Novak has guessed correctly. Novak made a move to cover the backhand, and that's where Taylor had chosen to rip the ball. So at that last millisecond, he tried to take it even a couple of inches more precisely and got a little greedy with his spot there.
Break point number 2. First serve into the backhand of Novak Djokovic. Novak can't handle the pace from Fritz. 122 out wide. And it's a second break point saved for Taylor Fritz. Back to deuce we go.
Novak got both hands on the backhand return there. He would expect to make that 9 times out of 10, getting there so comfortably. So he flung his head back in a little bit of disgust at himself for wasting a break point in his mind.
Djokovic putting all sorts of pressure on the Fritz serve in this opening service game. First serve to the forehand of Fritz, and again, Taylor on that second ball falling back, losing his balance and losing a forehand wide, and it's a third break chance now for Novak Djokovic.
Great penetration on the return from Novak deep and into the right up the middle, forehand side of the middle. Taylor didn't get the feet organized quickly enough.
Fritz tried to go big out wide on the first serve, and now Djokovic steps right on top of the baseline to return the Fritz second serve on a third break point. Second serve into the forehand of Djokovic. He goes inside out to the backhand of Fritz. Now he's got Fritz on the run. Fritz has to throw a one-handed slice backhand defensively, and it can't clear the net. And Novak Djokovic has broken for 2-love. Big start for Djokovic.
Just the first round of a heavyweight title bout here, but early blow struck by Novak Djokovic. Clean returning on nearly everything there. And Taylor, I thought the footwork was just a little suboptimal for him. Just a little nervous energy probably that he'll settle into pretty quickly.
So, yeah, go on, Gil.
Well, that deep middle return, which Djokovic has almost patented at this point, paid huge dividends in that first return game.
Yeah, Taylor Fritz made multiple errors off his second ball. Now a first serve from Djokovic to the forehand of Fritz. Fritz with a nice return to the forehand of Djokovic, who went down the line, painted the line. Fritz can't reply, and it's 15-love.
Yes, you're right, Russ. Gil, it looks like he's trying to drive the returns even on the stretch. He does have a wonderful chip forehand return, but maybe not employing it against Novak out of respect for Novak's first ball forehand.
Well, it was the first ball forehand that did the damage there for Djokovic. Here's a first serve into the backhand of Fritz, return to the forehand of Djokovic. Now backhand to backhand. They rally right now. Djokovic goes to the forehand of Fritz, and Fritz pounds a forehand into the net, and it's 30-love.
Novak having early success redirecting the backhand up the line. That'll really make him happy because that's leading to a shorter rally when he redirects his backhand up the line. And if he's going to have success with that pattern, that will really save him some energy.
So 30 love. Novak Djokovic cruising on serve. First serve into the middle of the net there, trying to go wide into the forehand of Taylor Fritz. Now Fritz gets a look at a second serve from Novak Djokovic. It's 30 love. Djokovic serving up 2 games to love, having broken Fritz in Fritz's first service game. Backhand return into the forehand of Djokovic. Now backhand cross court that sails long from Taylor Fritz. The errors are coming fast and furious off the racket of Taylor Fritz right now, and it's 40 love.
Yeah, his predominant miss so far tonight on the backhand has been long, hasn't it? I don't think he's left any short into the tape.
Does that tell you anything?
Maybe a little amped up, a little, to hit the ball hard and be assertive, and he's just overdoing it at the moment.
40 love for Novak Djokovic, and another first serve into the middle of the net. Looked like he was trying to kick it out wide to the backhand. As Djokovic wipes his brow with his wristband and now goes into his motion for second serve. Second serve into the backhand of Taylor Fritz. He goes cross court. Djokovic tried to go down the line with that backhand, but it was kind of low, and he wasn't able to get down low enough to get it up over the high part of the net. So it's 40-15.
It definitely seems like, to my eye, this is a tactical play from Novak to redirect his shots down the line earlier in the rallies than perhaps he would in most situations. I think he's backing himself to make his down the lines, which will shorten the points.
40-15, game point again for 3 love, and again a missed first serve from Novak Djokovic as he tries to go out wide to the forehand of Taylor Fritz. So a second serve coming. It's 40-15, game point once again for Novak Djokovic. It was 40 love, and here's the second serve, and it's a deep second serve that's too deep. First double fault of the match, and it's 40-30.
It didn't work that time, but we should expect Djokovic to hit his second serve's hard slice into the Fritz forehand as opposed to the traditional kick. You don't necessarily want to kick it into Taylor's backhand.
Especially Taylor, as tall as he is, hard to get it out of his strike zone, too. If you hit a kick, it's going to go right where he likes it, probably around chest level, especially on that backhand side. 40-30, Novak Djokovic serving to Taylor Fritz. Tried to go down the tee and missed wide. So Fritz has a look at a second serve from Novak Djokovic. Remember, Djokovic was up 40 love. Now it's 40-30. Fritz trying to get himself back into this Djokovic service game. Second serve, backhand return from Fritz down to the backhand of Djokovic. And it was a kick serve that bounced right into Fritz's strike zone on his backhand. He pounds it deep down the center, and there's a miss from Djokovic. It's deuce.
A very uncharacteristic miss, too. Sometimes Novak loses his balance for the most balanced player of all time. Occasionally he'll have these rogue off-balance misses, and that was one of them.
So Taylor Fritz has done well to battle back from 40 love on the Djokovic serve. Now it's deuce with Djokovic serving up 2 games to love here in the first set on Arthur Ashe Stadium. First serve, trying to go out wide again. This time doesn't miss in the net. He misses long and wide, and another second serve for Taylor Fritz to look at. Novak's only 50% right now on first serve percentage. And he's only won half of his second serves. And now to the forehand of Fritz. Down the line, the return goes to the backhand of Djokovic. And it's another backhand error from Novak Djokovic that gives Taylor Fritz his first break point opportunity of the match.
And guys, these are definitely footwork and balance related misses. Novak is normally so perfect with his preparation and balanced. He can make thousands of those in a row, but he also seems to be suffering from some jitters here, going from 40 love, really handing Taylor these points back to a break point. Often when you're a little bit nervous, it's your feet that feel like concrete, and your footwork suffers.
Maybe a case of a little bit of nerves from both players in the early goings. Djokovic first serve into the forehand of Fritz, and Taylor dumps a forehand return into the net.
Yes, tried to attack that, but put too much brush, too much topspin on the return and smothered it halfway up the net. Really a missed opportunity there because the serve wasn't that accurate. Taylor had a good play on that.
It looked for the moment there like Djokovic was playing it a little bit safe, serving to a bigger target to make his first serve, and it worked. So back to deuce we go. First serve, now he gets it wide to the forehand of Fritz. Fritz, beautiful return forehand right off the back of the baseline. Now they're into the backhand cross-court rally. Forehand now from Taylor Fritz inside out to the backhand, and Novak back to the backhand of Fritz. Deep into the backhand corner from Fritz, and a deep reply from Novak Djokovic that forces the error from Taylor Fritz. Just when you thought Novak was going to have to play defense, he had an offensive shot.
And that was vintage Djokovic. Taylor hit his forehand inside out, basically on the line, and you thought, oh, advantage Fritz in this point, and then Novak sticks that outside leg in the ground, and before you know it, Fritz is backing up to hit a defensive shot. He is the greatest defender of all time, as well as being the greatest player of all time.
Well, that was on display for sure on that point. Now a game point again for Novak Djokovic. Last time he had game point, it was 40-love. Now it's add in after saving a break point. And an unreturnable, actually, yes, an unreturnable first serve. Fritz's reply doesn't cross the net, and Novak Djokovic has held for 3-love in the first set. So one-way traffic so far, Macca. What do you attribute that to mostly?
Oh, well, I think, Taylor's footwork's been a little off. Didn't find the mark with the first serve as often as he needed to in that first game. So it's just an early blow to his hopes, and then that was an unusual game. 40-love, Djokovic, and then really just went off the boil, almost gave the break right back, which would have been very annoying to the great Novak Djokovic, but he steadied the ship. Taylor Fritz just missed his opportunity on the break point, and yep, it's early days, but Novak up 3-love and a break.
Yeah, I mean, Djokovic made 4 straight unforced errors in that game, and he's able to survive it. That was a very key missed forehand return by Taylor on a serve that was 112 miles per hour and not particularly well spotted. So, I don't think, look, obviously it's 3-love, but I wouldn't call it one-way traffic. I think all 3 games have been close, and Djokovic has won the big points, and Taylor hasn't so far tonight.
Taylor Fritz hasn't really been able to get Novak Djokovic into many grueling rallies just yet. The longest has been 17 strokes, which he won. But how can Taylor extend some of these points to maybe extract some of the energy from Novak?
Yeah, well, the errors that Taylor has made, he's missed a few backhands long, and that anyone who knows him well knows that's so rare. He's normally so rock solid off that side, and then inflicts a lot of damage on the forehand side while staying very consistent also. It's been a bit of an uncharacteristic start. I would attribute that to just the occasion and early jitters, but I'm fairly confident that he's going to settle in, find a few first serves, and then once he gets his range, there won't be those type of errors flowing from his racket.
Taylor Fritz stepping to the line at love 3. First serve out wide to the Djokovic forehand, who chips it deep down the middle of the court, neutralizing the rally. And now Taylor Fritz, backhand cross court to the slice backhand now. Djokovic moving Fritz in. Taylor Fritz, lovely slice dropper off the short slice from Djokovic, is a clean winner at 15-love.
Definitely a tactical play from Novak to short slice cross court. Maybe one of Taylor's little chinks is thought to be a lack of touch closer to the net. Well, he was ready for it there. Well, good coaching by his team to get him ready for that. It looked like he knew what he wanted to do with that ball. He redropped it immediately.
Second serve now from Taylor Fritz, and another retoss from Taylor on a second serve. He missed his first. Here's the second serve at 15-love into the body of Djokovic, and a deep return off the forehand from Novak. Now a down the line backhand into the forehand corner. Djokovic moving forward, half volleys behind Taylor Fritz to his forehand side, elicits the error, and it's 15-all.
Yeah, another creative point from Novak. The backhand down the line, the sneak in, the stealth play to come to the net there and hit a clever half volley, very deft. So I think we're seeing the tactical maneuvers being made here. Novak's looking to play a creative brand of tennis tonight.
And as Gil mentioned earlier on, likely trying to shorten points, because that's what he's been doing. First serve into the forehand of Djokovic, serve +1 to the backhand of Novak Djokovic. And the backhand reply is long, and it's 30-15.
And that was a sensible decision from Taylor Fritz not to approach the net there. It's so tempting to rip a ball into the corner and think, oh, yeah, let's get to the net and finish off a volley. That's when Novak is at his most dangerous.
All right, first serve at 30-15, clips the top of the net. So Taylor Fritz will get to do it again. Another first serve as Taylor Fritz serves at love 30, 30-15. Novak Djokovic awaits about 6 feet behind the baseline. Fritz down the middle of the court. Djokovic reply to the forehand of Fritz. Big forehand into the forehand corner and now into the open court. Inside out forehand winner from Taylor Fritz, and it's 40-15.
Now that's a Taylor Fritz point right there. An accurate, powerful first serve, eliciting a shortish return and then 2 whopping howitzer forehands, 1 to each corner to win the point. That should settle these nerves. Points like that should make him feel like, okay, I've got my game going here. Let's get down to work.
And then a big service winner down the tee for Taylor Fritz, and the American is on the board. Novak Djokovic still leads 3-1 here in the first set in this men's quarterfinal on Arthur Ashe Stadium.
And that's probably been a fairly important part of the matchup problem for Taylor Fritz, not having beaten Novak yet, is that Novak's such a good returner, deep middle, so he doesn't give you those easy +1s as often as most players would off a good first serve.
So here's Novak Djokovic stepping to the line, leading 3-1. Taylor Fritz now a good 10 feet behind the baseline to return the first serve of Djokovic. Novak goes down the middle. Fritz returns with his backhand to the forehand of Djokovic, and it's an error off the forehand wing that makes it love 15. Into the net it goes.
Yes, just looked a little slow to set up his feet again after the serve. Perhaps he thought the serve was going to get the job done, but Taylor was quite deep on return and had no problem getting the return back right up the middle.
So love 15 on the Djokovic serve. Novak Djokovic up a break, won the first 3 games of this first set. Big first serve to the backhand of Fritz, who chips it back to the middle of the court. Now Novak with his forehand into the forehand corner of Fritz, and a forehand long off the racket of the American, and it's 15-all.
That time Novak's serve was wide enough to elicit a chip return, and once Novak gets control of the point with the forehand, it's very hard to turn the tide and get back to neutral.
So Fritz again very deep to return the first serve of Novak Djokovic at 15-all, 3-1 to Djokovic. Djokovic trying to slide it short and wide at 98 miles an hour, hits the net. So now Fritz moves in about halfway between where he was and where the baseline is. So he's about 5 feet behind the baseline, ready to return this second serve at 15-all from Novak Djokovic. Djokovic to the forehand, cross court into the forehand side of Djokovic, pushes him back, and then Fritz goes inside out with a forehand. That's a return +1, and it's 15-30.
Yes, Taylor Fritz's forehand is one of the most fearsome shots in tennis. Novak will be upset with himself for hitting such a mediocre shot in the middle of the court, allowing Taylor to play his favorite shot.
That's a play we see Naomi Osaka use a lot on return, pushing her opponent back and then using the open court. And it's 15-30 on the Djokovic serve. First serve towards the backhand of Fritz is long. And again, Taylor Fritz will take a couple of steps forward to return the second serve, looking to impose some sort of pressure off the return. Djokovic, a few extra bounces now in the second serve. Big point here at 15-30 to the forehand of Fritz, and he totally handcuffed the American. Shanked forehand into the net for 30-all.
And that's the beauty of the Novak Djokovic second serve. He can give you all the different paces and locations. He's very comfortable taking a second serve with pace to the right-hander's forehand. And as Gil said, I'm sure he'll use that a lot tonight against Taylor Fritz to be unpredictable.
That was 106 to the body from Novak Djokovic on a second serve. 30-all, first serve, top of the net, it clips. So Novak will get another look at a first serve at 30-all. Into his motion again. Novak Djokovic serving at 3-1, 30-all, out wide to the forehand of Fritz. Kind of shanks a forehand return up into the middle of the court, which Novak steps right on top of and bangs a backhand cross-court into the open court. For a winner, it's 40-30.
Yeah, Taylor's been a little off on his forehand return thus far. Made a couple of errors, missed the break point opportunity with a blown forehand return, and that one was poorly timed out on the edge of the strings and led to an easy backhand cross-court put away for Novak.
Game point for Novak Djokovic here, 40-30, right down the tee. That's ace number 2, and a 4-1 lead for Novak Djokovic in the first set of this quarterfinal match on Arthur Ashe Stadium. We'll take a quick break as they change ends, and you're listening to U.S. Open Radio, presented by American Express. Night 10 of the 2025 U.S. Open. This is men's quarterfinal action here on Arthur Ashe Stadium between Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross is courtside. Arthur Ashe Stadium. The games have been close, but Novak Djokovic has won 4 of the first 5 as Taylor Fritz serves at 1-4 in the first set, and his first serve is long. Second serve now from Fritz, right into his motion. Djokovic inside the baseline to return it right into the backhand of Fritz. Cross-court backhand to the forehand of Djokovic. Now it's a forehand down the line to the backhand of Fritz. A short chip from Djokovic. Fritz comes in, and Djokovic puts the first ball at Fritz's toes. Fritz can't handle the volley. It's wide, and it's love 15.
He's used that crafty slice backhand short a few times now, luring Taylor Fritz into an approach shot, and that's where it's advantage Djokovic, passing shot against Taylor's volley.
Big first serve from Fritz down the tee, reply by Djokovic. Big forehand into the forehand quarter that Djokovic can only throw up in a defensive lob. Taylor Fritz steps in, forehand down the line winner. It's 15-all.
So I think that Taylor's starting to look pretty confident with his high forehand, so he'll be probably resisting the impulse to come to net on some of those short balls and just rely on punishing and extending the point, getting forehand winners.
First serve at 15-all, down the tee to the Djokovic backhand. Backhand to backhand goes Fritz. Now backhand down the line from Fritz into the forehand of Djokovic. That's a scoop squash shot forehand defensively into the forehand corner of Fritz, who goes down the line to the backhand of Djokovic. Backhand of Fritz into the backhand corner of Novak, who goes clean down the line winner from Novak Djokovic. It's 15-30. He pulled the trigger and found the glory.
Yeah, a good example though. Taylor could have probably approached on the first ball, but respect for Novak's passes. He declined that option and turned it into a protracted rally. And then the first time Novak got his feet underneath him on that backhand side, he just laced it down the line. It's a shot that he looks like he can make all night. So I expect to see a lot more of that as the match wears on.
15-30, big first serve from Fritz that Novak gets back. Big first ball from Taylor Fritz that Novak replies short. Fritz knocks off the easy volley winner, and it's 30-all.
So I think it's a sign of respect for Taylor Fritz's consistency and his backhand in particular that Novak has made that decision. It's worth the risk. I've got to back myself, trust myself to make the backhand down the line. It's worth the investment.
30-all. First serve to the Djokovic forehand, now into the forehand of Fritz. Now backhand cross-court to the backhand of Fritz. Back to Novak, who chips and brings Fritz in again. This time, Fritz flips a backhand down the line into the open court for a winner.
Taylor looks very ready for that. It's the third time that Djokovic has tried to chip it short cross court to the backhand. He's lost all 3 points so far.
Just very well scouted, I think, Gil. Yep, Mike Russell would have been aware that this was a tactic Novak was going to use against him.
And a big first serve down the tee that Djokovic can only shank away, and Fritz is held. Djokovic leads 4-2 in this first set now.
Just little bits of confidence starting to flood into Taylor's game. As Gil remarked upon, just the anticipation of that short cross-court slice was very good. He got to the ball early enough that it was high above the height of the net, which enabled him to put it away. If you're a touch slow reacting to that and you only get to it below the net, then you have to pop it up to Novak's passing shots, which would not be ideal.
So Novak Djokovic now steps to the line with a 4-2 lead, a break of serve in hand. First set against Taylor Fritz in this quarterfinal matchup. First serve into the net, trying to go down the tee. So a second serve now for Taylor Fritz, who still lingers about 5 feet behind the baseline to return this second serve from Novak Djokovic. And it's out to the forehand of Fritz into the forehand of Novak, who goes down the line to the backhand of Fritz. Here comes Novak moving forward, and a backhand volley behind Taylor Fritz for 15-love.
Just a really nice offensive point from Novak. There was nothing wrong with the return from Taylor Fritz, but Novak's doing a really good job of redirecting the ball down the line, both forehand and backhand. He seems very willing to go down the line and shorten the point, and that time he stole in and finished with a backhand volley. So yeah, I think that enterprising tennis, aggressive tennis, creative tennis from Novak Djokovic.
First serve at 15-love down the tee. Fritz returned down the middle of the forehand to Djokovic. Now a forehand from Novak into the forehand corner of Fritz elicits the error, and it's 30-love.
fantastic width and depth from that Djokovic forehand. It's a ball that Taylor maybe should have made, but you'd almost call that a forced error. He was really coming at a rapid velocity and right into the forehand corner.
30 love. First serve from Novak Djokovic, slides it out wide to the forehand of Fritz. He can only put up a high defensive lob. Novak moves forward quickly, pops a little two-handed backhand swinging volley behind Taylor Fritz, and it's 40 love.
Yeah, great tactics from Novak, using the wide serve to the forehand. Taylor's standing quite deep, so the wide serve to the forehand is taking Taylor quite a ways out of the court, making him commit all his weight to the recovery.
Points now for 5-2 for Novak Djokovic. He was 40 love in his last service game and then went 4 unforced errors in a row to give Fritz a break point. He saved that before eventually holding. Now he's got 40 love again, and another look at his serve and a big kicker out wide for an ace. Taylor Fritz leaning tee. An ace from Djokovic, his third of the match, and it's 5-2. Fritz will serve to stay in the first when we come back on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Deep into set number 1 here in this men's quarterfinal matchup between the 7th seed, Novak Djokovic, and the 4th seed, Taylor Fritz of the United States. Djokovic got the first break of the match, won the first 3 games of the first set, and he's held that break throughout as Taylor Fritz now takes the balls, will step to the line and serve at 2-5, looking to stay in this first set against the 4-time U.S. Open champ. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross is courtside at Arthur Ashe Stadium. First serve to the Djokovic forehand. Chip return to the middle of the court, and Taylor Fritz goes right behind Djokovic for a forehand winner. Serve +1, and it's 15 love.
You can see how that was a good pattern for Taylor Fritz. Any kind of mediocre return that Taylor gets his forehand on is good night.
6th forehand winner now for Taylor Fritz. None off the forehand wing just yet for Novak Djokovic in this match, although he has found great joy with that backhand down the line. Second serve to the forehand of Djokovic. Big return to the backhand down the middle, and now Novak moving Taylor to his forehand side. Good defense from Taylor Fritz, and again pushing him to the forehand side is Djokovic, and this time the Fritz forehand sails long, and it's 15 all.
So far, it's just been a beautifully played tactical match from Novak. He's, as we talked about, using his down the lines to great effect, and also the punishing forehand cross court over to the Taylor Fritz forehand has really caused some problems also early in the early going.
Taylor Fritz trying to swing Djokovic out wide to his forehand at 15 all, but misses his first serve into the net. Second serve into the backhand of Djokovic. Deep return to the backhand of Fritz. Now a backhand to backhand exchange, and Fritz mits another backhand long.
I'm really bewildered with these long misses with the backhands. This is not the normal Taylor Fritz. He does not miss cross-court backhands. I can only surmise that he's trying to hit the ball just with a little extra velocity, take control. We know he said he doesn't want to play safe in these big moments. Maybe he's just overcooking it just a little bit.
Big first serve +1 for Taylor Fritz. Gets him to 30 all. Big first serve down the tee. The reply was into the middle of the court. Taylor stepped in and cracked a cross-court forehand that Djokovic couldn't handle.
That's my read on it as well, Mac. I think that Fritz is going for
10, 15% more on each and every shot, and we're seeing errors as a result.
And perhaps Novak's backhand down the line has spooked him a little bit. It's like, I can't just hit a normal cross-court backhand or I might get burned with the down-the-line backhand.
Second serve into the Djokovic backhand again pushes Fritz back to his forehand. Now Novak trying to work the ball with his forehand and again elicits the error, this time off the forehand wing of Taylor Fritz. It's 30-40 and a set point now for Novak Djokovic.
Taylor really needs an accurate first serve here to set up a first strike on his forehand. Does not want to let this set get to 6-2. That's just a lot of momentum going the wrong way.
And again, a restart on a bad toss from Taylor Fritz. It's been a bit of an issue so far in the first set. First serve to the forehand of Djokovic, deep return into the backhand corner, and now a backhand reply into the net from Novak. That's a set point saved from Fritz, and it's deuce.
It was a tremendous return. I think a last-second change of mind there. I thought he was going to go for the winner down the line, and then I think he changed his mind at the last minute and played safe and paid the price.
All right, first serve at deuce, down to the tee it goes. A chip return down the middle and a big forehand into the forehand of Djokovic that Novak can't handle. It sails long the reply, and now a game point for Fritz, and you can hear the fans at Arthur Ashe Stadium trying to get behind Taylor Fritz. They would love to see him extend this first set. 2-5 add in. Game point for Taylor Fritz now after saving a set point. First serve down the tee. Backhand cross-court winner, and Taylor Fritz holds. Gil, what you got?
Well, Djokovic missed a key backhand there on set point, and I know this is something that we've talked about throughout our coverage of Djokovic at this U.S. Open, but there was frantic technical advice being delivered from across the court as you had two men in his box standing up and pantomiming a backhand technique adjustment after Novak missed. He's up 5-2, but yeah, I'm just reporting what I saw.
That is astounding to me. Like, if someone's trying to teach Novak Djokovic how to hit a backhand at this stage of his career, they're delusional.
Novak Djokovic hasn't been broken in this set, and he serves forward at 5-3. Taylor Fritz has had one breakpoint opportunity. It was a big serve into the forehand of Fritz that he couldn't handle, where that break point went away. But second serve now, first point of the 5-3 game. Djokovic to the backhand wing of Fritz, to the backhand reply of Djokovic. Now Novak goes down the line into the forehand of Fritz. Cross court to the forehand of Djokovic, and that forehand from Djokovic goes into the top of the net. Fritz wins the first point of this game. It's love 15.
I mean, Novak has really had the better of this first set. If he were to drop serve here, I mean, that would just change everything so drastically. Just a little bit of doubt, a change of mind with where he was going to do with the shot, getting the box involved with technical advice. I smell trouble.
Well, right now it's 5-3. Djokovic, love 15. First serve down the tee to the forehand of Fritz. Deep reply to the forehand of Djokovic. Backhand into the backhand of Djokovic. Now in a forehand into the forehand of Novak. And Novak's forehand goes into the top of the net, and Djokovic sort of pantomimes falling over as if his balance wasn't there, Macca. Goes back to something you talked about before, and now it's love 30.
The momentum is shifting here fairly sharply towards Taylor Fritz, and this is where Novak Djokovic's first serve can often bail him out. He's able to be really precise with the first serve. It can solve a lot of mental issues.
Fritz standing pretty much in the doubles alley, about 10 feet behind the baseline to return this first serve at love 30. Djokovic was going to go out to the forehand wing of Taylor Fritz, but misses into the net. Taylor again steps back now to return this second serve. Djokovic, love 30 at 5-3, serving for the first set. Fritz has now stepped in about halfway. He's about 4 feet behind the baseline to return this second serve from Djokovic. Backhand return right down the middle to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a backhand into the net from Taylor Fritz. To your point about something about Djokovic earlier, he seemed to be of two minds there, and that was an ugly-looking backhand miss.
Oh, talk about letting your opponent off the hook there. He made the deep return. He has a very short, attackable backhand, and I think he changed his mind, as you said. Also, Russ, the cross court was available to him, but then I think at the last millisecond he thought, you know what, I think I might be able to hit a down-the-line winner here, and he got it horribly wrong.
Still has a lead, does Fritz, though, at 15-30. Djokovic isn't out of the woods just yet. First serve at 15-30, down the tee. Novak Djokovic is long. Djokovic serving for the set here. Worth reminding, it's 5-3 Djokovic. He won the first 3 games of this first set. Now he's serving for it at 5-3, but it's 15-30. Second serve now for Djokovic, and it's right to the forehand of Fritz. Good return to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a backhand to the backhand of Djokovic. Backhand to backhand they go. Who will change direction first? Novak Djokovic goes down the line, but it's into the top of the net, and it's 15-40. 2 break points on the way for Taylor Fritz.
Definitely some tension in Novak Djokovic right now. He's stuck with that attacking play of going down the line, but without the crisp footwork that he'd shown on previous occasions, and he stumbled after he missed that backhand, which he often does when he misses a shot. He's just a tiny bit rattled right now, and this is a golden opportunity for Taylor Fritz to wrest control back and get back on serve in the first.
Perhaps a turning point moment here in the first set. Novak Djokovic serving at 5-3 for the first set, but 15-40. Taylor Fritz has his second look at a break point in this first set. Wasn't able to convert on the first. Here's a look at the first serve. Djokovic looking to go out wide. Doesn't miss by much, but he misses wide, and it's a second serve now on break point at 15-40. Djokovic is going to stop and then restart his entire motion. He looked very frustrated with himself after missing that first serve. And Djokovic into the bouncy mode. Second serve coming into the forehand of Fritz. Return to the backhand of Djokovic. Down the middle it goes. Fritz to the backhand of Novak, who goes down the line into the Fritz forehand. And it's too much for Fritz to handle. It's 30-40.
And that was clearly a case of Taylor playing a little bit safe on the break point. He didn't do much with that forehand. And that time Novak's footwork on the backhand was crisper. He got body weight into it, gave it a full 90 to 95% power rip. And Taylor has just got his hands to his face like, why did I do that? Why did I take too much pace off that previous shot?
That's a break point saved, and another coming, though, for Taylor Fritz. 30-40. Djokovic serving at 5-3. First serve into the net. Last second serve was a big second serve into the Taylor Fritz forehand on break point. Let's see where Djokovic goes here on break point number 2, 30-40, as he serves at 5-3. Djokovic contemplating, bouncing into his windup. Novak's second serve, a kicker to the middle of the box, which Fritz returns down the middle to the forehand of Djokovic. Now goes down the line. Djokovic moves him to his forehand side cross court. Now down the middle of the court, Fritz backhand to Djokovic. Now Fritz steps around, goes inside out. Djokovic cross court backhand to the backhand of Fritz. Djokovic forehand to the forehand of Fritz. Now big forehand to the forehand of Djokovic. Forehand down the line from Djokovic. Forehand down the line from Fritz, and Djokovic has Fritz moving to his backhand and now to his forehand. Fritz playing defense on the forehand. Now Fritz over the top of this forehand. Djokovic goes down the line, moves forward, has an overhead, and knocks it off for a winner. A beautifully played point. And Djokovic puts his hand to his ear and asks for the crowd's support, and they give it to him, and now a big fist pump as Novak Djokovic knows he just saved a huge break point.
And he did it with very brave tennis. He went for the lines. He went down the line on multiple occasions in this point. Finally hitting the ball with enough accuracy and power to beat Taylor Fritz's defenses, finishing with a very competent little overhead in the final stroke of the rally. But it took a very brave point to get through Taylor's defensive prowess there.
Taylor Fritz did a tremendous job staying in that point and making Novak Djokovic continue to go for big balls. And Djokovic was up to the task, saved 2 break points, and now it's deuce at 5-3. First serve to the forehand of Fritz. Fritz tried to go down the line, clipped the top of the net, landed in, and Djokovic bangs a backhand long. Little help from the top of the net, slowed things down, changed the rhythm just a little bit, and it's break point number 3 for Taylor Fritz.
That return may have been going wide, and I think it hit the tape and kind of redirected back into the court. So a huge break for Taylor Fritz there. Just when he was irate at himself for passing up 2 break point chances, he's got another.
Add out now as Novak Djokovic waits for the crowd to quiet down before he gets into his motion. Here's Novak Djokovic, 3rd break point against in this game. First serve to the backhand of Fritz, return down the middle of the court. Djokovic goes dropper cross court. Fritz runs it down, but can't get it to clear the net as Djokovic moves forward, and it's deuce.
Such a precise drop shot. Low trajectory cross court, took the hand, faked the two-hander, and then went with the sharp cross-court drop shot. Really well executed. He cleared the tape comfortably, which is your first goal in a drop shot. You never want to leave them short. And then just Taylor Fritz was tearing after it. He almost got there for a spectacular retrieval, but not quite.
So it's deuce in a service game that's lasted now more than 8 minutes. Taylor Fritz had Djokovic at 15-40 to get back on serve here in this first set. Now it's deuce. First serve to the forehand of Fritz. A backhand down the middle to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a backhand cross court from Fritz and a backhand to the middle of the court from Djokovic. Forehand to the forehand of Djokovic. Now Novak has Taylor running to his forehand side. He goes down the line to the Djokovic backhand. Now a backhand to the backhand from Fritz to Djokovic. Djokovic backhand reply is into the net. He smacks his racket into the ground, and it is another break point opportunity for Taylor Fritz.
I really get the feeling like Taylor is totally okay with physical rallies like that. Like he's prepared to pay the physical price tonight, not thinking anything farther beyond than this match right here, this quarterfinal. Novak seems a little more reluctant to engage in these physical rallies, and he's looking for a way out a little bit earlier in the point. So just something to keep an eye on, but I just feel like Taylor is embracing the physicality of the match a little bit more than Novak.
Taylor Fritz now with a fourth breakpoint opportunity in this game. Add out at 5-3 for Novak Djokovic. First serve from Djokovic, down the tee to the forehand of Fritz. Return to the backhand of Novak, who goes cross-court to the backhand of Fritz. Now he goes down the line, and Fritz is on the run to the forehand, can only slash it into the middle of the court. Novak steps forward, takes away the time, and swipes the forehand winner to erase another break point.
Another offensive point from Novak Djokovic. He's definitely trusting his shots tonight. Whatever shot is required to take control of the point, that's what he's going to play, whether it's a down-the-line forehand, a down-the-line backhand, or a drop shot. He's totally going for his shots, not wanting to engage in 30 and 40 shot rallies.
So again, it's deuce here at 5-3 with Novak Djokovic serving for the first set here at Arthur Ashe Stadium. First serve into the net. Second serve coming from Novak Djokovic. 5-3 deuce. This has been a long game, closing in on 10 minutes now for this ninth game of the first set. Fritz returns with the backhand to the middle of the court, leaves it high a little bit. Djokovic punishes him to the forehand side, but then another forehand trying to run Fritz to the backhand wing, sails wide, and Fritz has another break point.
I agree with Macca about the cardio point he just made. I've seen small signs throughout the set that Novak continues to be managing his cardiovascular endurance, taking the maximum amount of time in between points and first and second serves. And, a couple of times in these long rallies, he's lost positioning and balance. And I think that's a fatigue thing. But it's going to be, look, it's still formidable.
Break point again for Taylor Fritz. Djokovic extending his service motion time. Now he's up into it. And he tried to go down the tee, and it's into the top of the net. And Taylor Fritz will take a look at a Djokovic second serve. Big, deep breath from Novak Djokovic. Into his windup he goes. And here comes the delivery. Second serve down the tee. Big serve down the tee. Novak Djokovic, 107 down the tee, and a second serve erases another break point.
And Taylor tapped his racket on his head as if to say, you should have been expecting that. You know that Novak has got a great second serve to the forehand, and he definitely wanted a short point right there. Taylor's just scratching his head like he didn't cover that a little earlier, anticipate it.
So back to deuce we go. First serve out wide to the Fritz forehand. Serving volley from Djokovic. Backhand volley into the backhand corner. Fritz tries to go short on the passing shot, and Djokovic is right there to dink a little backhand drop volley for a winner, and it's set point for Novak Djokovic.
And that's the game within the game. Taylor Fritz has an outstanding cross-court backhand pass, and he can go down the line as well, but Novak just guessed cross-court at the last split second. That's doing your homework, knowing that when the chips are down, he's going to go to his favorite shot, which is a cross-court angle, and he was right there for the drop volley winner.
Set point number 2. First set point on the Djokovic serve here. Add in at 5-3. First serve down the tee to the forehand of Fritz. Now a backhand to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand again down the middle from Djokovic to the backhand of Fritz. Now he goes down the line to the forehand of Taylor Fritz. Djokovic backhand now to the backhand of Fritz to the backhand of Djokovic. Backhand cross court from Fritz. Djokovic takes it as a forehand inside out to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand back again to the backhand of Fritz. And now Taylor whips that backhand long. Novak Djokovic pumps his fists, and he has the first set by 6-3 for the number 7 seed Novak Djokovic as they change ends after set number 1. Gil Gross, you have first word on your first thoughts of the first set here on Ash.
Novak played the big points better. That was the difference in the set. Fritz was in 3 Djokovic service games in a big way, and he wasn't able to capture the break because there were just a couple of things. At times it was just Novak brilliance, Novak God mode. At other times it was exposing some Fritz vulnerabilities. The number of hard returns into Fritz's forehand that were returnable, that Taylor didn't make the returns that he needed to. That stood out to me. And then there was also, let's say, the 15-40 point to get this back on serve. Taylor babies a forehand, decelerates, and Djokovic is right there to clean up the short ball with the big forehand of his own. So it's just, are you able to maintain your level on those high pressure points? Djokovic was able to raise. Fritz probably dipped a little bit when it really mattered there.
Yeah, perfectly summarized there, Gil. That 15-41 stands out to me. Is that babied is the perfect word to describe it. He's capable of hitting that forehand so much harder, and he played a little safe, and it cost him the whole set, because if he rips that forehand successfully, we might be at 5-4 right now. It's obviously just the opening salvo in the match, but I felt like a set that got away from Taylor Fritz a little bit. Novak was vulnerable in a few service games, as Russ alluded to, and Taylor just didn't convert.
Those early errors that Gil spoke about off the backhand wing from Taylor Fritz really led to the 3-love lead for Novak Djokovic. And then that 15-40 point, I'm with both of you guys on that. And it goes back to something we talked in the pregame, how Zach Zvida had an opportunity to take advantage of a lead against Novak Djokovic, and Cam Norrie at a crucial moment in his match against Novak Djokovic had a chance to be aggressive as well. Both of them stepped back when they probably should have stepped forward, and that happened on that 15-40 point from Taylor Fritz, where he put too much air underneath the forehand into the middle of the court when he could have gone hard with it. And Djokovic, you don't give him a second chance, because every other time that Fritz had a break point, Novak really took control and played offensively with his back against the wall. It's one of the many things Novak has probably done better than anyone in the history of this game, is play offensively when in trouble.
Yeah, not to say he didn't have his moments of vulnerability, though.
Sure.
He had some unforced errors. He had some moments with his box where he looked very flustered. So I feel like for Taylor, he's just got to steady the ship here, get back to doing what he does well, and there'll be plenty of more opportunities. He's got to push Novak to the psychological and physical limit tonight, and he may indeed break through if he's able to do that.
All right, so Taylor Fritz now up to serve. First game, second set against Novak Djokovic. Big first serve down the tee. Djokovic floats a backhand return into the middle of the court, and Taylor Fritz knocks off the inside-out forehand, and it's 15-love.
Djokovic at the change of ends was pressing on his chest and doing, I suppose, a breathing exercise or an ab stretch. I can't really tell which one.
All right, first serve into the backhand of Djokovic. Low reply as Taylor Fritz comes in off his backhand side. Nice lob over the backhand side of Taylor Fritz. And now Fritz has to move forward as Djokovic puts a little drop shot in. And Djokovic's volley is long and wide. It's 30-love.
Taylor Fritz showing off his improved movement there. They're little mini wins that would really make him and his coaching staff happy when he gets tracks down a drop shot, makes a great defensive get, and uses a bit of touch. These are things that he's not known for as much, and when you win those points, it feels really good.
First serve at 30-love is into the net from Taylor Fritz. Second serve coming to Novak Djokovic. And it's into the backhand, and Novak returned to the backhand of Fritz, who goes back to the backhand as Novak slices out wide to Taylor Fritz's backhand. Fritz just opens up and cracks a cross-court backhand winner from very little given to him, and it's 40-love.
And that's what the Taylor Fritz backhand is capable of. Like, he can hit it with velocity and spin and accuracy. I think we could see a lot less backhand errors now that he's settled in, I would assume.
So Taylor Fritz with, by far, would have to be considered his cleanest service game so far this match. 40 love, backhand return long from Novak Djokovic, and a hold at love for Taylor Fritz to start set number 2 as they change ends here.
Just the start that Taylor needed after the disappointment of not breaking back to extend the first set, to get a love hold there and do some good things, make a nice defensive stab as well as some big serving and cracking forehands. Just the little momentum change that he needs to get cracking here in the second set.
Very interesting tidbit from Gil Gross in between sets about Novak Djokovic opening up his chest, a la like what we saw in the first round against Lerner Tien. We'll see if Taylor can get Novak into some more extended rallies. He hasn't won all of them, but it seems to have taken its toll a little bit physically on Novak Djokovic, as we've seen Djokovic try to shorten points all night long. Something to keep an eye on for sure. I'm sure Gil's got his eyes open for everything going on down there. It's love 1. First serve from Novak Djokovic is well done down the tee. Return into the net. It's 15 love. 57 minutes into this match. The first set took 52 minutes. After those first 3 games, tightly contested all the way through the end of that set. 15 love. Djokovic into the backhand of Fritz. Return to the backhand of Djokovic. Backhand to backhand they go. And now Djokovic goes down the line to the forehand of Fritz, who scoops one deep, and it's 30 love.
It's a very hard shot to defend, a well-struck backhand up the line. You have to cover the cross-court. You're obliged to be in position to cover the obvious cross-court backhand. So when a player does absolutely pure it up the line, it really tests your mobility.
First serve at 30 love. Out wide to the forehand of Fritz, and too good as Taylor puts that forehand return wide. It's 40 love.
And I think that wide serve is the one that Taylor needs to take away the most. You don't want Novak, who can be so accurate on that serve, take you way out of court, because then he'll run you. You'd rather have him beat you like with a absolute precision ace up the tee.
All right, first serve into the backhand of Taylor Fritz. A couple holds at love to start this second set, and it's 2 love. You know, to go on your point about that backhand down the line into the forehand of Fritz, and it's not like Taylor's really been trying to run around backhands and opening up space. Novak's actually doing it with less space than he normally would have against a guy with a big forehand like Taylor Fritz. But Taylor's been going backhand to backhand and pretty much staying in that backhand side, giving less space to Novak, and he's still making those shots down the line. Really impressive. All right, it is 1-all. First serve from Taylor Fritz to the forehand of Novak Djokovic, and it's a long reply. And so far, no points lost on serve by either player here in the second set. 15 love.
The return was about a 16th of an inch long there. Taylor was very happy to get the call. Get that. Always those first 2 points of a service game are so crucial.
First serve at 15 love is into the top of the net. Second serve coming. Fritz down the tee to the forehand of Djokovic. Forehand return into the net, giving Novak a little bit of a taste of his own medicine there with a hard slice second serve down the tee.
And a lot of players don't play that serve with a lot of comfort. They default to the kicker or the body. It's a really good weapon to have if you're willing to challenge your opponent's forehand and second serve.
First serve at 30 love. Fritz trying to go wide. It hits the top of the net. Second serve coming. Fritz into the body. Backhand of Djokovic. Return right down the middle. Now quickly down the line into the forehand wing of Taylor Fritz. Fritz is able to reply, and then Novak's forehand clips the top of the net and sails wide. It's 40 love.
Yet another rasping backhand down the line. Taylor just was able to squash shot it back, but it's even that was a difficult ball for him to make. So tactically, A+ for Novak to employ this backhand down the line. It's paid a lot of dividends in the early going.
Point for 2-1 now for Taylor Fritz. Tries to go out wide with the first serve, hits the net. Second serve coming now for Fritz at 40 love. We're at 1-all in the second set. Djokovic took the first. Another big second serve down the tee, unless it's the long reply. Fritz holds it love. It's 2-1 to the American. 1 love in sets to Djokovic, and we'll take a break on U.S. Open Radio, presented by American Express. On serve, second set. Taylor Fritz leads 2-1. 3 straight love holds here to open the second set. Novak Djokovic got an early break in the first, rode it out to win that set 6-3. Not without incident. Had to fight off many break points at the 5-3 game to serve it out. Second set, things have sort of leveled out just a little bit as far as level between these two have gone. Nothing between them here. And it's 1-2 with Djokovic serving to start game 4. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross is courtside at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Novak Djokovic, a 4-time U.S. Open champion, serving. First point of the 4th game. Big return from Fritz to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a backhand deep to the cross-court backhand of Fritz. Backhand again, cross-court to Djokovic. They go backhand to backhand. Now Djokovic tries to go inside in with a forehand and misses it into the net.
That was an outstanding return from Taylor Fritz. It was a very good wide serve. Taylor was on the full stretch, and he hammered it down the line, which is over the high part of the net, and was able to recover for the next ball. Extraordinary.
Love 15. Novak Djokovic serving at 1-2, second set. First serve from Djokovic to the backhand of Fritz. Return down the middle of the forehand of Djokovic. Now a forehand into the forehand wing from Fritz. Now Fritz tries to go inside out to the backhand of Djokovic, and it's a backhand into the top of the net, and now it's love 30.
Gil, did he hit that clean, Taylor, that forehand down the line?
I was actually watching Novak's movement in that point. And Novak, by the way, did not hit his last backhand clean.
Yeah, I think Taylor wrapped his forehand around the frame a little bit and just found a happy home by chance.
Love 30 now on the Djokovic serve. Fritz has had opportunities to break. He hasn't converted yet. And Djokovic goes up the tee for his 4th ace of the match, and it's 15-30.
What a spot on the outside half of the center line. I suppose that Taylor will just have to live with that spot. He just cannot get beaten wide, which takes him too far out of court.
15-30, Djokovic serving at 1-2 in the second set to Taylor Fritz. Djokovic took the first. Here comes the first serve. It's way long, and a second serve coming now. Djokovic has employed that hard slice down the tee a lot of times when he's behind for his second serve at 15-30. Let's see where he goes. Into his windup, and it's a kicker slow to the backhand of Fritz. Deep reply to the forehand of Djokovic that goes right off the baseline. Fritz can't handle it, sends it long, and it's 30-all. I think Taylor might have thought that one was going deep until it landed.
Very close, and that's just Novak being so clever with his second serve. We were kind of expecting him to go big to the forehand, and he did the exact opposite. He went slow and bouncy to the backhand.
It was 81 miles an hour. He's been hitting them 107, 108 down the tee when need be. 30-all. Big first serve to the backhand of Fritz. Return down the middle, and another error off the backhand wing of Novak Djokovic. And now Taylor Fritz has a break point at 30-40. First break chance of the second set for the American.
Just a very uncharacteristic miss. It was a shortish return. Novak Djokovic just didn't move crisply up to the ball and netted the backhand.
7th break point opportunity for Fritz in this match, looking for his first conversion. 30-40, Djokovic serving at 1-2, second set. Here he is into his windup for the first serve, and it's an ace out wide. Just incredible spot serving from Novak Djokovic. Ace number 5, and it's deuce.
Yeah, the hallmark of a champion, coming up with the shots when it most matters, and that was the difference in the first set. As Gil, I think, said, it was just big points. Novak played them better, and he just saved a massive one right there with his best serve of the night.
1-2 deuce. First serve from Djokovic down the tee. Too good for Taylor Fritz. It's a service winner, and now it's a game point for 2-all.
Djokovic is 7 for 7 on breakpoint saves.
What a stat, 7 for 7. I mean, that's John Isner numbers right there.
And now it's a game point for 2-all here in the second set. Djokovic took the first 6-3. First serve and add in. Down the tee to the forehand of Fritz. Short reply. In comes Djokovic, but Fritz goes down the line with a backhand that Djokovic can't handle. And it's deuce.
Great anticipation from Taylor Fritz, reading where the approach shot was going to go. And then I think because Novak covered the cross-court pass the first time, Taylor recognized that and was like, I've got to make a down-the-line pass to keep him honest up there, and he executed it to perfection.
So now it's 1-2 deuce. A save of a break point and then a save of a game point by Fritz. And Novak Djokovic unleashes his 6th ace of the match, his 3rd of the set, and it's a game point again, right down the tee.
The 3rd of the game, right?
I think he's noticed that Taylor's slightly shading to cover the wide serve, which in my opinion is sensible strategy, but he's threading the needle down the tee there. The trouble is with Novak, he can serve it anywhere. He's got such command over his ball toss and subsequent accuracy.
Djokovic tried to go wide on the first serve there on game point, fired it long up the line, so a second serve coming now. Add in 1-2. Second set. Here comes Djokovic's second offering to Taylor Fritz. It's into the forehand. Fritz returns to the backhand of Djokovic. Now Fritz goes inside into the forehand of Novak. Down the line from Fritz to the backhand of Novak. Slides out wide on his backhand to go cross court and then pushes a backhand long. Novak Djokovic, it's like a swish or air ball from Novak in this game. It's been aces or errors.
He's had more backhand errors than you normally see. Both players, actually. I mean, Taylor had a
slew of them
amount.
Early,
a slew is a good way to describe his first set, but Taylor's maybe settled in on the backhand here in the second set, and Novak's had a couple of uncharacteristic misses.
Another difficult service game, though, for Novak Djokovic. First 3 service games of this set were at love, and Djokovic, big serve down the middle. Fritz returns down the middle himself, and now on the run from his forehand side to the forehand of Djokovic. Down the line, Djokovic moves into the net, but can't handle the short pass from Taylor Fritz, and it's another break point for the American.
Some nice defense there. Once again, Taylor's taking away the wide serve pretty much on the deuce, so Novak wisely went up the tee again. This time Taylor was able to reach out with one hand and stab the ball back in play, and of course that leaves him in the middle of the court. So that's a smart returning from Taylor. If he can get that tee serve back, he's not out of position because he's in the middle of the court.
8th break point opportunity now for Taylor Fritz. 2nd of this game. Add out at 1-2. Djokovic serving out wide to the backhand of Fritz. Return to the backhand of Djokovic. He goes down the line into the forehand of Taylor, who tries the squash shot, but it's into the net on the full slide, and it's deuce. And he's talking to himself as Taylor.
Huge dividends once again for the backhand down the line. The first serve wide set it up. When you serve wide, you do give yourself a chance to take your opponent open court, and that's what he did there when it really mattered.
Novak taking some extra time again. Many bounces of the serve and then trying to go wide. And it's long and wide. Second serve. 1-2 deuce. This service game is turning into an epic here. 4th game of the second set. Second serve now from Djokovic. Forehand return from Fritz. He tried to go after it, covered it, and put it right in the middle of the net, though.
It was definitely there to be hit. It wasn't Novak's best serve, but Taylor his eyes lit up and he was like, I'm going to absolutely hammer this, and he overcooked it into the tape.
Fritz shaking his head, a little bit disappointed that he wasn't able to take advantage of a second serve right into his forehand wheelhouse. So it's game point again for Novak Djokovic. Down the tee on the first serve. Return deep to the forehand, and Novak, who goes down the line to the backhand. Fritz goes cross court into the Djokovic backhand. Now inside into the forehand side of Djokovic. Now cross court forehand to Djokovic. Now a backhand down the middle from Fritz. And Djokovic slices one deep to the backhand side of Fritz. Backhand to backhand they go. Fritz to Djokovic. Fritz down the line now to Djokovic, running to his forehand wing into the forehand of Fritz. A big forehand out of nowhere. My goodness, Novak Djokovic. Stunned he is, stunned the crowd is, and it's 2-all.
What a grueling rally that was, and eventually Novak was having no more of it. He said, I'm going to flatten out on this forehand come hell or high water, and he was able to just spank the winner cross court. Just blistering shot.
That was a little reminiscent of the forehand return that Djokovic hit on match point down against Roger Federer so famously, no?
The thought crossed my mind, Russ. We're all thinking that.
How about the running forehands at the Olympics that he hit against Alcaraz in that second set tiebreak? Guys, Novak's backhand has been a little bit vulnerable tonight. I'd give it maybe a 7 out of 10. I'd give the forehand a 12 out of 10. It's been awesome.
It's a little demoralizing when you're in the middle of a grueling rally, and then Novak just out of nowhere. That was from a position that nobody hits winners except Novak. So it's 2-all. Taylor Fritz now 0 for 8 on breakpoint opportunities. He had 2 of them in that last service game from Djokovic. Second serve into the forehand of Djokovic, and now a wild forehand miss from Taylor Fritz. And what do you think, Macca? Is there any issue here for Taylor in this service game, having missed opportunities in the last return game?
Well, he's got to refocus here quick smart, because the breakpoint opportunities that get away, they can weigh on you, and they can add to your irritability, and if your emotions get the best of you, you're in real trouble.
First serve to the forehand of Djokovic, and a little dropper from Taylor Fritz as Djokovic took about a step and a half back to defend what was coming. Taylor noticed it and dropped it in front.
There's a great little added nuance to Taylor's game. You wouldn't think of him as being much of a drop shotter, but he wisely went with the dropper there as Novak was on his heels, standing deep to return.
15-all. First serve from Taylor Fritz, trying to go wide to the forehand of Djokovic. It's into the net. Second serve coming from Taylor Fritz to Novak Djokovic. Into the backhand of Novak, who goes down the line into the backhand of Fritz, who returns in kind. Backhand winner from the American. It's 30-15.
Taylor Fritz starting to respond with a few spectacular shots of his own, taking on the backhand down the line himself to great effect there. Extraordinary racket face control on the move.
We've seen Fritz hit some cross-court backhand winners, and that's a big first serve from Taylor Fritz out wide that Djokovic can't handle, and it's 40-15.
I feel like the quality of match is rising. The first set was a little scratchy by these fellas' standards, but it's starting to really heat up now. Both players starting to bring out the heavy artillery.
Game point for Taylor Fritz, an ace down the tee, his first of the match, and a 3-2 lead for the American in set number 2. They'll change ends. We'll take a break on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Quarterfinal night at the 2025 U.S. Open. Novak Djokovic took the first set 6-3 over Taylor Fritz. On serve with Djokovic, set to serve at 2-3 in the second to the American. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross is courtside at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Gil, Macca and I feel like the quality of play is rising. How do you feel about that?
100%. And I give Taylor a lot of credit, because being 0 for 8 on break chances, not easy to deal with mentally, but he has taken care of his serve really well in this second set. That was an impressive hold after going down love 15 in that last game.
All right, so the pressure returns to the Novak Djokovic side of the court. Djokovic had to save 2 break points in his last service game. First serve into the backhand of Fritz. Now a shanked forehand to the middle of the court. Fritz puts in a drop shot that Novak runs down, tries to redrop cross court, but it clips the top of the net. It's love 15. Novak Djokovic puts his hand over his eyes and then shakes it out as if he's trying to refocus after that point.
He's massaging his temples, almost like he has a headache.
Say one thing for Novak, he's had a great variety of ailments this US Open. It's not one thing. He's certainly run the gamut.
Love 15. Taylor Fritz again in a Novak Djokovic service game, making him work, and now he's got a second serve. does Djokovic. Another thing we talked about in the pregame is how quickly Djokovic cruised through service games in his last few rounds. Taylor's making him work here, especially in the second set and late in that first set. Second serve now. Taylor Fritz backhand return to the backhand of Novak, and Taylor tries to cook one hard to the forehand of Novak, but just overcooked it by about 6 inches, and it's 15-all.
Yeah, he's having so many opportunities, isn't he? I mean, that's a big opportunity. Second serve, love 15, and a good look at your favorite shot, the forehand. It's a frustrating thing. I feel like Novak is just getting away with holding on to serve by the skin of his teeth at the moment.
15-all. Novak tries to go down the middle and misses into the net. And now it's a second serve at 15-all. We'll see if Fritz can do anything with this offering. Here comes Novak, second serve, and it's tries to go wide to the forehand of Fritz and misses. Second double fault to the match, first of the set from Novak Djokovic, and it's 15-30 again on the Djokovic serve.
And Taylor was creeping in closer to the baseline. I think Novak sensed that, and when players get closer into the baseline, that's when Novak likes to go fast to the forehand, and he just went a little bit too deep on that one, but tactically he was alert.
15-30 now. Djokovic first serve to the forehand of Fritz, return to the forehand of Djokovic, now cross court to the forehand of Taylor Fritz, and Fritz swings a forehand wide, and it's 30-all.
Both forehands that he's missed this game are for him regulation forehands. He was on the move a little bit, but certainly he would be so disappointed in himself for letting Novak off the hook there on 2 occasions on his forehand side.
30-all. Djokovic taking a little extra time here. He knows this is a big point, and here it comes into his windup. Djokovic out wide to the forehand of Fritz and elicits the forehand error off the return, and it's 40-30.
Accurate serve there from Novak Djokovic. Yes, Taylor's not employing his little power chip that he does against, say, a Riley Opelka or a John Isner back in the day. He's trying to drive all those forehand returns, trying to get to neutral or above neutral in the rally right away.
Game point for Novak Djokovic. First serve into the backhand of Fritz, but it clips the top of the net. So he'll start again with a first serve. Novak Djokovic trying to level this second set at 3 games apiece. 40-30 at 2-3. Djokovic took the first set 6 games to 3. Here he is with a first serve on game point. Djokovic down the tee to the forehand. Return to the backhand. Back to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand of Djokovic down the line to the forehand of Fritz. Now a forehand down the line to the backhand of Taylor Fritz. Puts it deep down the middle of the court. Now Taylor moves in. Cracks a forehand down the line and moves forward. Overhead from Taylor Fritz. Knocks it away for a winner. And it's deuce.
Good offense from Taylor Fritz right there. Making a down-the-line play himself, sensing that he had Novak on the run and following it in for the killer smash. That's really good instincts, part of his game that I think has come along in the last 2 or 3 years. The willingness to get forward when it's the right time. You definitely don't want to come in on Novak when he gets 2 hands on the backhand. That time he can only get 1, so he could only chip the ball.
2-3. Deuce now. Novak Djokovic first serve, trying to go to the forehand of Taylor Fritz, but he clips the top of the net. Second serve coming now from Novak Djokovic. Again, taking his time on this second serve. 1 hour and 21 minutes into this match. Novak Djokovic serving on serve. 2-3 deuce second serve. Fritz takes the forehand return, pounds it to the forehand of Djokovic. Now a forehand from Fritz again to the forehand side of Djokovic, who rolls it to the backhand of Fritz. Now a cross-court backhand from Djokovic to the backhand of Fritz. Now Fritz runs around his backhand inside out to the backhand of Djokovic. Down the line goes Fritz on his backhand. Djokovic scoops it cross-court. Fritz whips a cross-court forehand, clean winner, punches his fist and says, come on, as he gets a break point here at 2-3 on the Djokovic serve.
We've seen the backhand down the line work for both players so far in this match. Taylor just absolutely threading one from a difficult position, which set up the shorter forehand, and he whipped it wickedly cross-court with so much pace and angle. Novak didn't even attempt to run it down.
Break point for Taylor Fritz. He's had 8 so far in this match. This is his 9th opportunity for his first break of the match. Big first serve down the tee from Djokovic. Short reply from Fritz. Now Taylor has to throw up a defensive lob as Djokovic moves in, knocks away the overhead, and again, it's Novak Djokovic aggressive when playing from behind, and it's deuce.
Hit a beautiful spot down the tee there. So accurate and with good pace that Taylor wasn't able to get a clean, deep return off. And from that moment on, Novak had control of the point and didn't relent, ended up putting away the overhead. Clutch play from the greatest of all time once again.
2-3 deuce. It seems like every service game from Djokovic, except the first of this set, which you want to love, has been a tough one. Return down the middle from Fritz. Now a forehand from Djokovic to the forehand of Fritz. A backhand from Novak to the backhand of Fritz. Djokovic goes more sharply cross-court to the backhand of Fritz. Fritz replies back cross-court to Djokovic, but then it's another backhand error from Taylor Fritz, which gives Novak Djokovic a game point.
Taylor is piling the pressure on, but as Gil said earlier, Novak's just playing the big points better so far tonight.
And that was as close to neutral as you're going to get. They were just pounding the ball at each other back and forth across the net. Game point from Novak Djokovic now. Trying to level this second set at 3 games all. We're already 31 minutes into set number 2. And we're still in the 6th game of the set. First serve was wide. Second serve on add-in for Novak Djokovic. Here it comes to the backhand of Fritz. Fritz tried to return down the line, misses wide by a mile, and it's 3-all.
And that's where the variety of Novak's second serve is so effective. If you were throwing that same serve in time after time, kick to the backhand to Taylor Fritz's backhand, he makes that down the line. He gets grooved. Because he's gone so much to the forehand or the body with different paces, it's hard to make that down the line backhand off a slow kick.
Agreed, but on the big points, Mako, when he really needs it, particularly the break points, he's been going at Fritz's forehand return consistently. And on that last break point, I know Novak hit a good spot, but so much is being determined on whether or not Fritz can make a good enough forehand return to get to neutral, and he couldn't on that last break point.
A fine first serve on the first point of the 3-all game gives Taylor Fritz a 15-love lead. Pressure shifting back to the American side of the court. And a big first serve into the backhand of Djokovic. It's replied right back to Taylor Fritz. Now a big backhand into the backhand corner for Taylor Fritz. And Djokovic regains control with his forehand into the point and puts it into the backhand corner of Fritz, who can't handle it. It's 15-all. Boy, that was defense to offense. Quick, fast, in a hurry.
And to Gil's point about the second serve, the big points, he's going hard to the forehand, but he's investing in slower to the backhand on the less significant points. That's just masterful tactical serving.
15-all. Fritz trying to go big boomer down the tee, clips the top of the net and sails way long at 132 miles an hour. Second serve from Fritz. Slow kicker into the body of Djokovic. Return to the forehand of Taylor. Now Novak goes bigger angle wide to the forehand of Fritz, and on the run, Taylor misses a forehand wide. It's 15-30.
That's one of the more difficult shots in tennis. When someone takes you wide to your forehand, you've got a decision. Do I go for broke and be really aggressive on the run, and with any lack of balance, you miss that shot? Or do I roll it back up the middle and then I have to do some more running? So you have to you pick your poison there in that situation. So great job by Novak stretching Taylor to the forehand.
All right, so Taylor Fritz serving at 15-30, and now a second serve as the first serve trying to go wide goes into the net. Djokovic trying to return the second serve from way deep, rolls it down the middle of the court to the forehand of Taylor Fritz. Now to the backhand of Fritz, who goes cross-court to the backhand of Novak. Forehand inside into the forehand of Djokovic, to the forehand of Fritz, who goes down the line to the backhand of Djokovic. Now Fritz, backhand to backhand. Now Fritz with a forehand to the forehand of Novak. Fritz steps into the court and tries to inject some pace, but hits it long, looks very frustrated, and Novak Djokovic has 2 break points. It's 15-40.
Taylor's just had a couple of moments where he has not moved into the court well with his footwork on shorter balls. That was one right there where Novak's ball lacked a little bit of depth. Had Taylor moved into the court a la Roger Federer, it would be the best example of that, taking time away. He probably wouldn't have missed that forehand.
Taylor Fritz, first serve, trying to go wide to the forehand of Djokovic, hits the net. Second serve now at 15-40. Djokovic returned down to the middle to the backhand of Fritz. It goes back to the forehand of Djokovic. Forehand to forehand. Now Fritz goes down the line to the backhand of Djokovic, who slices it down the middle. Now Fritz goes dropper. Djokovic is there. Strong backhand cross court that Fritz can't handle. And the first break of the second set goes to Novak Djokovic, who takes a 4-3 lead as they change ends. And we take a break on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. It is the night of night 10 of the 2025 U.S. Open. This is men's singles quarterfinal action on Arthur Ashe Stadium between Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz of the United States. Djokovic up a set and a break now, 6-3 in the first. He'll serve at 4-3 in the second. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross is courtside as Djokovic will now step to the line to serve. And Gil, it feels like, again, Taylor Fritz had his chance but couldn't take it.
Yeah, and look, he needs to break Novak. He can't expect to hold serve all through these sets. So, I think Fritz can be pretty pleased with how he's played his service game. He's been broken once in each set so far. It's been the missed opportunities on Novak's serve, although Djokovic has also played those break points just so well.
So here's Novak Djokovic up 4-3. First serve to the Taylor Fritz forehand, and Djokovic tries to go inside out, and it's wide for love 15.
Yes, a little lack of footwork there from Novak on the forehand. It was a return up the middle, not particularly deep or penetrating, and Novak went for the down the line pretty early in the point, but without the footwork required to be precise.
So love 15, Novak Djokovic serving to the forehand of Fritz, return down the middle. Djokovic forehand to the backhand of Fritz, cross court to the backhand of Djokovic. Now cross court again, cross court backhand. Now down the line from Fritz, and he flails wildly as he hits it into the net. Does Taylor Fritz, and it's 15 all.
Yeah, it wasn't bad shot selection. I felt like the ball was there to be taken down the line. Just a lack of execution there. Left it a little bit low in the net. And another opportunity gone begging when he was in a good position in the return point.
First serve at 15 all from Novak Djokovic, down the tee into the net. Second serve coming now. Taylor Fritz has had break chances galore in this match. 0 for 9 is Taylor on break point opportunities. Had some in the last service game for Novak Djokovic, was unable to convert. Second serve into the body, backhand side of Fritz. Now Novak runs Fritz to his backhand side. Fritz sends a backhand long, and it's 30-15.
Another backhand long. That one, I think Novak was so precise with his cross-court backhand that Taylor was on the move as he had to make that stretch backhand. But it's definitely a source of concern how that backhand has sailed long on him on multiple occasions.
30-15, Novak Djokovic serving up a set and a break at 4-3 in the second. into the forehand of Fritz. Now a backhand cross court from Fritz and a forehand inside into the forehand of Djokovic. Taylor steps in and hits it to the backhand of Djokovic. Deep backhand to the backhand side of Fritz. Now Novak moves in with a forehand into the backhand side of Taylor Fritz, who misses wide from about 10 feet behind the baseline. And it's 40-15, and Taylor Fritz starting to show a little more frustration in this game.
Yeah, because he's been in every return point. Djokovic's serve hasn't made an impact, and Taylor's missed his favorite shot 3 times in this return game, and none of the backhands were under an immense amount of pressure.
Just the emotions just starting to fray at the edges here. Not good signs.
First serve down the tee. Novak Djokovic with another ace, his 7th of the match, and he takes a 5-3 lead in the second set, having already taken the first from Taylor Fritz.
Look, I've been watching Fritz basically every match this tournament, and part of that is because he's played so often on Armstrong, and he's been so clean in the unforced error category, really giving away nothing when it counts. He hasn't been that way tonight, but that's no coincidence. He feels the pressure of Djokovic on the other side of the court.
That's so true, Gil. Against inferior, lesser opponents, there's that swagger, there's that confidence that, like, if I stay solid, the other guy will miss. You certainly don't have that feeling when you're playing Novak Djokovic on big points. You can't expect that. So he's sometimes caught in between being aggressive and just going to his default play of being solid. And I think that's been a bit of the problem tonight. He's just been in between gears.
Well, that was a good first serve to start off this 3-5 game from Taylor Fritz. Elicited the return error from Novak Djokovic, and now a first serve into the net at 15-love. Second serve coming. Djokovic returning into the net, and it's 30-love to Taylor Fritz.
Just got a little jammed into the backhand body there. Novak was trying to take the return early and be offensive, but well-placed second serve from Taylor Fritz right into the backhand hip.
First serve from Taylor Fritz at 30-love is into the net. So a second serve coming. Novak Djokovic stepping in inside of the baseline, and Taylor went big down the tee. 122 on that second serve. 108 was the first serve he missed. 122 is the second serve he missed. And it's 30-15.
Channeling his Sasha Bublik there.
And that was a wild flat serve out wide. Missing by miles from Taylor Fritz. Second serve now. It's 30-15 Fritz. Serving to stay in this set. Big second serve to the forehand to Djokovic. Big return down the middle from Novak. Now a backhand into the forehand corner. Novak really pressing the pace in that point. And it works. Paid dividends. Fritz misses. It's 30-all.
Yeah, Gil's so right. I mean, the forehand's been very impressive from Novak tonight. Just a couple of misses, but a lot of damage done. He's really hit. That one was really struck sweetly with a lot of venom.
Novak can sense the finish line here. He's 2 points from the set. Nice first serve out wide. An ace from Fritz. He needed that. Just his second of the match. And it's 40-30.
Yeah, Mako, when Novak has had a chance to inject pace, it's usually going the direction of the Fritz forehand, and that includes the serve.
Master tactician.
Game point now for Taylor Fritz. Misses his first serve, trying to go down the tee. It's long, so second serve now at 40-30 for Taylor Fritz to Novak Djokovic again. Fritz on a second serve, going to have to re-rack on the toss. Second serve to the backhand of Djokovic, cross court to the backhand of Fritz. Now down the line to the forehand of Fritz. Forehand Djokovic just deep now, and that's game to Fritz. So they'll change ends. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Novak Djokovic serves for a 2-sets-to-love lead on Arthur Ashe Stadium. This is U.S. Open Radio, presented by American Express.
Thank you.
Back at Arthur Ashe Stadium for men's quarterfinal action, Novak Djokovic took the first set 6-3 over Taylor Fritz, and now the four-time U.S. Open champ will look to take a 2-sets-to-love lead on the American, who was a finalist a year ago here at Flushing Meadows. Djokovic serving at 5-4 in the first set to Taylor Fritz. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross courtside at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Taylor Fritz 0 for 9 on breakpoint chances. He's going to need to convert one here to stay in this set. Here's Djokovic serving. First point at 5-4 in the second. Out wide to the forehand of Fritz. It's long. Second serve coming. Djokovic really taking his time between serves. Here's the second serve out wide to the forehand of Fritz. Big return down the line from Taylor Fritz. Now he moves in and slaps a forehand winner for love 15. That's a heck of a start for the American, who needs to break to stay in this set.
Great anticipation from Taylor Fritz. As Gil said, on the big points, Novak's been trying to inject pace into Taylor's forehand. And I think Taylor just played the game of chess well there. He anticipated he might be getting a quick one to the forehand, and he was ready for it.
So Taylor Fritz now serving, receiving. It's love 15. Novak Djokovic's first serve is long. And Fritz has a look at his second serve. Let's see where Fritz takes this second serve. Let's see where Novak goes on this second serve.
Yeah, Taylor's not playing very close to the baseline, so Novak may elect to go slow kick to the backhand rather than big to the forehand.
No, he tried to go big into the body, did Novak, and he hits the net. It's a double fault from Djokovic. And it's love 30.
I think that was good tactics by Taylor, not getting in too close. I think when you're serving out a match, you're looking for quick points. You're looking to, and Novak was a little greedy there, trying to go for the big second serve on both the early points. And now he's under the pump here at love 30.
First serve now. As the serve clock winds down, Novak gets it off just in time. Out to the forehand of Fritz. Deep return into the forehand of Djokovic. Now Taylor in the middle of the court to the backhand of Novak Djokovic. Now a forehand slice down short in the court. Novak moves in and misses a backhand volley into the net. Djokovic trying to go behind Taylor Fritz. Instead, it's love 40 and 3 break points to level this second set at 5 games apiece.
Yes, the slice backhand approach from Novak was right to Taylor's forehand. He had options. He chose a fairly conservative down-the-line pass. Wasn't his best, but Novak probably should have gone for the drop shot cross-court volley there. And all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, we have break points.
Djokovic first serve at love 40. Down the tee. Fritz throws up a defensive return that sails long, and it's 15-40.
Oh, the big points. Novak going hard to the Fritz forehand. Taylor looked like he was trying to defend it, but to be honest, the serve was so accurate. It was basically on the line at top speed.
0 for 10 now, Taylor Fritz, on breakpoint opportunities. Matching his lifetime record against Novak Djokovic coming into this match.
Touché.
15-40, though. He's got another break chance. Return from Fritz to the forehand of Djokovic. Now it's a drop shot from Djokovic that clips the top of the net, and there is the break of serve. On his 11th breakpoint opportunity, Taylor Fritz has leveled this second set at 5 games all.
And it all started with that spectacular forehand return on the first point of the game. He was ready for Novak's tactics. It's always the game within the game, anticipating where your opponent's going to serve to you, and Taylor was ready. And he thumped that forehand return and get himself off and running in the return game. And he capitalized this time with a loose drop shot from Novak, who was trying to end the point a fraction too quickly.
Level they go, 5-all in the second set. Djokovic took the first. Here comes Fritz's first serve, and it's just wide. He went big down the tee at 129, and it didn't miss by much. Second serve now from Fritz, and it's into the top of the net. That is an unfortunate double fault to start this game at 5-all.
He used to do that more. He decelerated badly on that, just trying to hit a slow kick into the backhand. That's something that you don't see that often anymore from Taylor Fritz.
All right, so Fritz trying to go big wide and missing just long. Second serve now. From Fritz into the forehand of Djokovic. Deep return into the forehand of Fritz, and it's a forehand error from the American. And just like that, it's love 30. The momentum quickly shifting.
Oh, what a disastrous first 2 points. All the positive emotions from the break of serve were channeling into both himself and the crowd. And then with a double fault and a first ball forehand miss, Novak has another opportunity.
Love 30 and another missed first serve from Taylor Fritz.
Novak playing deep on second serve.
And here's the second serve off the top of the net. That was a nervous looking second serve from Taylor Fritz, and he went at it quickly. Didn't take a whole lot of time. And Taylor's right back up to the line at love 30, second serve. Kicker into the backhand of Djokovic. Kind of hits it into the middle of the court. Forehand to the backhand corner inside out. Now forehand to the forehand of Djokovic. Goes back to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand cross court to the backhand of Fritz. Into the middle of the court. Djokovic trying to roll one to the backhand of Fritz. And now it's Novak with an unforced error. And it's 15-30.
And by Novak standards, that is a really poor miss. He doesn't miss any balls wide normally. And just a little greedy again. Just not wanting to stay in the rally long enough, which is so unlike him. Normally, he just locks in on these big points and refuses to miss.
15-30, first serve down the tee. Novak chips a forehand return to the backhand of Fritz. Now a backhand down the middle of the court. Novak pushing Fritz into his backhand corner. Now Novak going down the line to the forehand, inside out on the backhand. Now a forehand down the line that has Fritz running to his backhand side, pardon me. And now a backhand to backhand exchange as Fritz has gone back to neutral, but then Taylor Fritz, after doing all that work to get back to neutral, misses a backhand from the middle of the court, and it's 15-40.
Yeah, demoralizing point to lose because he did so much work, as you say. His defense was terrific, getting back to neutral from some precarious positions in the court. And just when we thought that he might turn the tide in the rally, he sailed another backhand long by a couple of inches.
So 2 break points now for Novak Djokovic to get that break back that he lost in his last service game. And I'll have a look at his second serve. It's Fritz's first serve. Looking to go wide, misses. Fritz has not been particularly good on first serve in this game. Second serve now off the top of the net, and it's a double fault from Taylor Fritz. They'll change ends, and for the second time, Novak Djokovic will serve for the second set. He leads 6-5. We'll take a quick break on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Just when it looked like Taylor Fritz was going to gain control of momentum, breaking the Novak Djokovic serve when Djokovic served for the set, Taylor has a loose service game to get broken right back, and now Djokovic will have a second bite of the apple at 6-5 in set number 2 after taking the first from Taylor Fritz 6-3. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross is courtside at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Thanks so much for listening in on US Open Radio on this night 10 of the 2025 US Open. Djokovic's first serves into the forehand of Fritz, and a backhand cross-court has Fritz running to his backhand side, slicing to the middle of the court, and Djokovic calmly goes right behind the American to take a 15-love lead.
And that's a high percentage serve and play from Novak. Take Taylor wide on the forehand. Taylor didn't quite spank the return with the same authority as he did the previous game, and that opened up the court. Inside-out forehand after that. and then the winner.
15-love, Novak Djokovic deep into the ball tosses on his first offering. Kicker out wide to the backhand of Fritz, and Taylor rolls that return wide, and it's 30-love. That's the first time we've seen Novak go to the slow off-speed first serve.
I'll say. I mean, that surprised everyone in the Ash Stadium, including Taylor Fritz, who missed a regulation backhand, probably out of sheer shock to get a serve like that on such a big point.
So Djokovic 2 points from a 2-sets-to-love lead. 30-love, deep on that first serve offering towards the forehand of Fritz. Second serve coming, and again, Novak taking his time on the second serve into the forehand of Fritz, and Fritz pounds a forehand return cross-court into the forehand of Djokovic. Novak can't handle it. It's 30-15.
Oh, that was a great response from Taylor there, taking out a bit of frustration with a big slide around forehand. He was ready for the slow kick. That was designed to go in the backhand body, but Taylor used his feet to get around it and annihilate a forehand.
Djokovic still with the advantage, though, serving at 30-15. And the first serve to Taylor Fritz down the tee to the forehand, return down the middle of the court to the forehand of Djokovic, deep into the backhand corner of Taylor Fritz, and then Djokovic sails a forehand long.
That's very loose by his standards. Not the footwork that we're accustomed to seeing from him, just 2 or 3 slow, long steps instead of 6 or 7 short, sharp ones.
30-all from 30-love. Novak Djokovic still 2 points from the set, but this game has tightened up considerably. Taylor Fritz, remember, broke back to level this set at 5 games all the last time Djokovic served for the set. He's trying to send this second set to a tiebreak. 30-all, Novak Djokovic into his windup. First serve to Taylor Fritz, out wide to the forehand. Fritz returns down the middle to the backhand, and Novak goes back to the forehand of Fritz, now down the line to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand of Djokovic to the backhand of Fritz, and a backhand of Fritz to the backhand of Djokovic. Down the middle, and Djokovic goes forehand to forehand cross-court. Now down the line and sails it long. Caught it late. Taylor Fritz trying to go down the line and change direction has given Novak Djokovic a set point.
We are seeing some very uncharacteristic unforced errors from both players. You can just, the tension, obviously, the enormity of the match and the stage of the match is why we're seeing that. But I'm a little surprised that the greatest of all time and a rising star are having so much difficulty controlling their groundies.
And here comes a set point for Novak Djokovic. 40-30 at 6-5 in the second set. Djokovic ready to go. First serve up the tee, long. Second serve coming.
He was going at that Taylor Fritz forehand return again on the most significant of points. Let's see where he aims the second serve.
He's shown us just about everything so far. Fritz waiting about 5 feet behind the baseline, takes a short step in, takes a backhand return down the middle of the court to the forehand of Djokovic. Backhand to the backhand slice now of Novak, deep to the backhand corner of Fritz, into the backhand of Djokovic. Now Fritz goes down the line into the forehand of Novak. Fritz moving forward and pops a backhand into the net, and that gives Novak Djokovic the second set. A couple of fist pumps and a kiss to the crowd for Novak as he takes a 2-sets-to-love lead on Taylor Fritz. He continues to blow kisses at the crowd. Gil, what looks, what does it look like to you? What's he doing there?
Yeah, he found some people in the upper deck who were cheering against him in a way that he didn't appreciate. So after going up 2-sets-to-love, he blows them some kisses as if to say, he sticks it to him. All right. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. And Novak has certainly done that before. He will again use people who don't want him to succeed as fuel for his fire. So that's what we saw at the end of the set. Guys, just going back, Taylor Fritz tightened up at 5-all. He double faulted twice. He had double faulted once. The rest of the match, his second serve looked fine the rest of the match, and as soon as he finally broke Novak Djokovic, he played a very tight game. I mean, you could just see that the pressure in that moment was too much, which a little bit strange. It kind of came out of nowhere at 5-all after actually experiencing a successful moment in finally breaking serve. So Fritz was in the final here last year. Taylor's been in a lot of big matches. I think the 0-10 head-to-head is playing a role here, because I just can't think of another reason why Taylor would tighten up in that spot and not be able to play his tennis, other than he's just a little bit spooked by this particular opponent.
Yeah, Gil, I mean, you make great points, and two double faults to the deuce court where Novak, after the first serve was missed, back way up and basically said to Taylor, you know, just roll it in if you can. And Taylor left both of those second serves short, just trying to hit a routine kicker. I think that's really good head games from Novak. If he had have stayed closer to the baseline on that second serve, I don't think Taylor misses those second serves.
Both players have left the court after the second set. They've both taken their bags with them, which would suggest that they're going to take the full kit change and bathroom break as well. So that's a 5-minute deal between second and third sets if they're going to change kits for both players.
Well, and for Taylor, it's a very good time to get off the court and just reevaluate, reassess, try and get control of your emotions, because it can easily get away from you here. If you carry any frustration or feeling demoralized in the beginning of the third, this match will really be gone and dusted. So he needs to come back and really make a concerted effort to hold serve, be the one that breaks first in the third set, and try and use the US Open crowd, because if there's one thing that New York likes is a great comeback.
That's right.
So if he can get one break, they will be getting rowdy, getting loud, and Novak will be having to fight off the whole stadium. Not just one rogue fan in the upper deck, as Gil alluded to.
Well, Macca, as you predicted before this match began that we would be here through the witching hour. Well, Taylor's going to have to get on his game here and make some moves on Djokovic, because Novak's got a 2-sets-to-love lead. He is 15-0 lifetime against players from the United States coming into this match at the U.S. Open. 13-0 lifetime in U.S. Open quarterfinals is Novak Djokovic. That is one off the record that Jimmy Connors holds. His 14 appearances in the semifinals here. Happy birthday to Jimmy Connors, by the way, who turned 73 years young on Tuesday.
One of the greatest U.S. Open champions ever, and one of the prettiest two-handed backhands that you'll ever see, Jimmy Connors. It was just a thing of absolute beauty. He hit it so low and skidding and could take it down the line, and then he would approach the net on it. It was my favorite play in tennis, watching Jimmy Connors take the backhand early down the line and then pump away a volley and then go to town on the fist pumps and the high knee jumps.
Well, while we're reminiscing on old times, let's talk about Jürgen Meltzer in 2010. What did he do that nobody else has ever done in the history of tennis?
That has come back from 2 sets down against Novak Djokovic. That's my guess.
That's correct. Novak Djokovic is 296 wins to just 1 loss when winning the first 2 sets at a major.
Oh, Gil, I was about to say lose to David McPherson in the finals of the Newport doubles. Gosh, but just missed it by that much.
Somebody who is not in my kitchen. Anyone who gets that reference, you get a high five from me. Anyway.
Lost on me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Russ.
Sorry. That's Norm from Cheers, by the way, when he was on Jeopardy. Long time ago. We're reminiscing about old times, so that's, you know, kind of what we're talking about here. Look, this match has been tight, but Novak Djokovic's greatness has just come through. And it's not like we haven't seen this before, Macca. When players have chances against Novak, for some reason, there's like a little hiccup.
Well, that's true. That's his imposing, the gravity of playing against Novak. That's the aura that he creates. So he's made a normally safe and secure, rock-solid mental opponent in Taylor Fritz go to water in some huge moments. I mean, that is Novak Djokovic's presence impacting his opponent there. Classic example.
And just checking the numbers, want to say hello to everybody watching us on the YouTube channel right now. We're doing great numbers on US Open Radio, on our US Open Tennis Championships page on YouTube. So hi, everybody checking us out on YouTube. You can get in the comments, and we'll answer some questions if we can, or if you got any at this point, with Novak up 2-sets-to-love on Taylor Fritz. Novak has made his way back onto the court. He's now stretching out just a little bit, and Taylor Fritz is here as well. So we're getting ready for set number 3 on Arthur Ashe Stadium, our one and only night match of the evening. Unfortunately, Marketa Vondrousova, who was supposed to take on Aryna Sabalenka, the #1 seed and defending champion on the women's side. Vondrousova, apparently, according to her camp, got hurt before she played and beat Aryna Rybakina, felt something in the warm-up before the match against Sabalenka today, and pulled the ripcord. Said, I can't do it. Checked with trainers and doctors, and they didn't want to risk any further damage to Vondrousova. So Sabalenka's through to the semis. Well, she'll take on Jessica Pegula. That'll be a rematch of last year's women's championship. But now Taylor Fritz has stepped to the line to start serve in set number 3. First point, first game. Fritz first toss is no good.
His 10th court ball toss. If I could change the rules, that'd be 10 faults.
First serve is returned by the forehand of Djokovic to the forehand of Fritz. Now they're into the rally, and Fritz unloads on a forehand cross-court winner for 15-love.
And he needs a positive start in this third set in the worst way. He's mentally strong enough and physically capable of making a comeback, but he needs his confidence to flood into his body early.
15-love, Fritz first serve into the forehand of Djokovic. Lays one up in the middle of the court. Fritz comes in with a forehand inside out. Little dropper from Taylor. Djokovic runs and goes tweener through his legs trying the short lob, but Taylor has too much length and puts away the volley.
That was so cool. That was like a great hockey player disguising a little between the legs shot by the goalie there. That was something that you rarely ever see. It didn't work, of course. It went straight to Taylor's high smash, but it was very cool.
Taylor Fritz, a big first serve, and quickly it is 40-love in this opening game of set number 3.
If that front-facing tweener was a foot higher, it would have been the shot of the tournament.
It was also no look, by the way, as we saw the replay.
It was super cool. Gil, you're so right. A little bit more loft on that, and that would have been an iconic shot.
Second serve into the Djokovic backhand. Fritz goes down the line big on his backhand into the Djokovic forehand, and all Novak has to do is redirect into the open court, and it's 40-15.
And that's the thing with the backhand down the line. You have to choose them judiciously, because if the opponent anticipates and is there in time, it's just a routine cross-court forehand into the open court, and that's what happened on that occasion.
40-15. Game point again for Taylor Fritz. Misses the first serve as he tries to swing it out wide as we get to the 2-hour mark in this quarterfinal match. Fritz second serve into the backhand of Djokovic. Return now down the middle. Taylor Fritz inside in. Oh, thought he had a winner inside in down the line, but it sailed long, and it's 40-30. So what started as a fairly routine looking service game to start, now it tightens up at 40-30.
And Novak, that time on second serve, was much closer to the baseline. I think he's saving those deeper looks for really, really big points to try and throw Taylor Fritz off.
And Fritz trying to go out wide big on that first serve at 40-30. It's into the net. Second serve coming to Novak Djokovic. Game point still for the American. Second serve return backhand to backhand from Djokovic. Djokovic into the middle of the court forehand. Fritz cross court and blows another one long. That is unforced error after unforced error from Taylor Fritz. And it's deuce from 40-15.
Shots you so rarely see him miss. And Novak hit his backhand a little on the throat of the string. So what should have been a routine forehand put away from Taylor blasted it long.
All right, so now it's deuce and a second serve again. Look for Novak Djokovic as Fritz misses the first serve. Second serve down the tee to the backhand of Djokovic. Back to the backhand of Fritz. And Novak now misses a backhand and stumbles awkwardly as he misses.
He has
and smiles, does Novak Djokovic.
Yes, that exaggerated stumble when he misses a regulation shot. To say I tripped over something, there's something on the court, a banana peel.
Game point again for Taylor Fritz, and again he misses a first serve. Second serve offering. Game point one more time for Taylor Fritz. Forehand return down to the forehand of Fritz. Now backhand to backhand from Djokovic. Again, Novak goes middle of the court. Fritz goes to the forehand of Novak, who goes down the line and hits a clean winner. A clean winner from Novak Djokovic in the middle of a rally, and it's deuce.
He has really injected pace into that forehand from some improbable positions on the court, as you say, Russ, down the line there from well behind the baseline.
First serve from Fritz into the backhand of Djokovic. Now a forehand to the forehand side of Djokovic. Now down the line from Fritz towards the backhand of Novak, and that elicits the error, and it's a game point again for the American.
Taylor really needs this hold. He was able to force Novak behind the baseline there, Novak punching at his strings, like to say, I'm hitting it on all parts of the racket face here, not in the middle.
Big first serve down the tee for Taylor Fritz. Novak gets the reply. It's into the middle of the court, and Taylor misses a forehand wide.
Novak was literally on his way to the other side of the court to change ends.
We just don't see Taylor Fritz miss easy forehands very often out here on the tour. This is so uncharacteristic.
Forehand wide to the forehand of Djokovic. Taylor moves in after an approach to the open court and knocks off a forehand volley. Game point again for Fritz.
Just hanging tough, a good wide first serve did most of the damage in that time. His normally reliable high, chest-high forehand was struck sweetly, and confidence building for him to get to net and polish off a couple of volleys.
Big first serve down the tee. Djokovic returns down the middle, and Taylor Fritz unloads on an inside-out forehand. Maybe a little more difficult than he would have liked, but Taylor Fritz holds for 1-love in the third.
And that was an absolute must-hold there for Taylor. He got the job done despite a couple of hiccups. He is so severe on the high forehand. He allows that ball up to around about his chest, somewhere between his chest and his shoulder. And that's a lethal height for him to unload. He hits the ball pretty flat with just enough overspin to send it well inside the baseline.
And it did seem like he was letting his shoulders go a little bit more in that opening game of the third set. The pace was up on the forehand side. So the good news for Fritz, he's had issues on big points throughout this match. Maybe he'll relax a little bit now that he's down 2-0. The bad news for Fritz is Novak will probably relax as well.
It took 12 minutes for Fritz to hold in that opening game after 40-love. Djokovic just wouldn't let him off the hook in a couple of loose balls, but Fritz does hold. So Djokovic serves up 2 sets and love 1 in the third. And it's quickly a first serve down the tee for an ace from Novak Djokovic.
Another lethally accurate tee serve at 117. Taylor's kind of given him that serve most of the night, protecting the wide one by and large, and Novak has had a half dozen aces there, I'd say.
Novak misses the first serve here at 15-love, so a second serve for Fritz. Takes a couple steps up and then a couple steps back and ends up where he started on his return. Now he steps up to return a second serve, and Novak going for the kicker out wide, misses out wide. A double fault from Djokovic, and it's 15-all.
Certainly hasn't used the kicker out wide that often. He's preferred to go hard cutter into the Fritz forehand more often than not, but first game of the third, up 15-love, he tried to mix it up there, tried to make himself unpredictable for Taylor.
15-all. Novak Djokovic into his windup, out to the forehand of Fritz. Forehand returned into the backhand of Djokovic, cross court to the backhand of Fritz. Now Fritz running to his forehand side. It's Djokovic on the run to his forehand. Novak puts that forehand into the net, and it's 15-30.
And that's the type of physical point that Taylor wants to play. The return neutralized the serve, and then he powered the forehand wide cross court to Novak's forehand and got him really on the move. And as I said before, that's a very difficult shot in tennis when you're stretched to your forehand out in the doubles alley. Very easy to miss that one.
So 15-30. Taylor Fritz is not wanting for chances on the Djokovic serve. He has broken once. And now at 15-30, first serve into the forehand of Fritz. Nice forehand into the backhand of Djokovic. Now a slice backhand down the middle from Novak. Forehand to the backhand side. Now Novak floats a slice backhand deep. Now a two-handed backhand into the backhand of Fritz. They go backhand to backhand. Fritz goes down the line of the forehand, but it's long from Fritz, and it's 30-all.
Yes, the backhand down the line has definitely been employed more successfully by Novak Djokovic. Taylor had one or two moments of brilliance with it, but I would probably think that he's trying to make the points grueling and long and physical, and to miss one down the line there when he could have taken it cross court would just be a little annoying to him.
30-all here in the second game of the third set. Novak Djokovic serving at love 1 to Taylor Fritz. Out wide to the forehand, unreturnable from Novak Djokovic. Hit his spot at 101 out wide in the deuce court, and it's 40-30.
Beautiful ball toss, just always the same ball toss with Novak. You never see him catch them. And he was actually on his way for a serve volley there. He had such good body weight into the court, which is a hallmark of his serve. Novak lands so far inside the baseline after his first serve in particular. launching his body weight into the serve.
All right, Djokovic looking to serve down the tee on game point, but misses into the top of the net. 40-30, second serve. Taylor Fritz awaiting the return in the near court. Djokovic into his windup in the far court. Here's his second serve, offering into the forehand of Fritz, who pounds it down the middle right at the forehand of Djokovic. Now into the backhand of Novak, who floats it high into the middle. Novak on the run, chopping a forehand into the middle of the court. And Fritz hits the tape on an inside-out forehand that would have been a winner, but it stays in. Djokovic playing some defense, but Taylor coming in and knocking off the overhead. Shakes his racket to the crowd, asks for the support, and he's got it. It's deuce.
Yeah, he can bank on the crowd support here. Not only being American, but being down 2-0. They certainly want to see more tennis. So I think that's really smart from Taylor to try and engage the crowd here when he wins a good point. Mishit backhand from Novak there laid the table for Taylor to unload on the forehands.
Good job keeping his concentration, too. Taylor had what looked to be a forehand winner that clipped the top of the net, and the point continued. And he continued, did Taylor, to be aggressive, and he was rewarded for it. It's deuce. First serve from Novak, way out wide, serve and volley, but the return is well deep. Well done from Novak Djokovic, and it's a game point again.
And you can see why Taylor Fritz has to defend the wide serve. Novak hit 2 in a row, the exact same spot, serve volleyed on both of them, and when Taylor was overstretched there, that's an easy point for Novak if Taylor doesn't defend it positionally.
It's a point for 1-1 now from Novak Djokovic. First serve down the tee to the forehand of Fritz. Return to the backhand of Djokovic. Backhand cross court to the backhand of Fritz. Now Novak goes inside out back to the backhand of Fritz. Now Fritz backhand to the backhand of Djokovic. Down the line, Djokovic to the forehand of Fritz, who chips one cross court. Novak goes down the line into the backhand of Fritz, who powers one to the backhand of Novak. Deep reply from Djokovic forces the error up the Fritz backhand, and it's 1-1, and Novak's telling the crowd to be quiet.
Now, was that the crowd or his box that he's shushing there?
That would be the crowd. That's somebody in the lower bowl. So he's now found somebody on both levels rooting against him.
It's genius. I mean, he just knows how to find that fuel, and this is going to power him through the third set, just finding fans that are not rooting for him, and that's going to give him the energy to get over the line.
Like another GOAT, Michael Jordan, Novak takes it personally. 1-1. Slider out wide from Fritz, and it's 15-love.
Taylor giving Novak a bit of his own medicine there with the nasty slider wide to the forehand. Such a good angle that it was an ace.
15-love, Taylor Fritz trying to go big, flat and wide, but it's
Only
long.
3 aces in the match so far for Taylor Fritz. Very low number.
Novak has been returning just about everything. This time he returns long to Djokovic and again gesticulates wildly as if something must be wrong with the court because he missed a backhand return. This is a man who's up 2-0. It's 1-1 in the third. Fritz serving at 30-love. Tries to go down the tee, and it's into the net. So second serve just coming here from Fritz at 30-love, and it's a double fault into the net.
Yes, Taylor's serve definitely hasn't been at its best tonight, serving at 51%, which is far too low. Only 3 aces. Caught a lot of ball tosses tonight. I really feel like that's something that isn't as reliable as some of the great servers in the game, Novak Djokovic being one of them.
There's a big flat serve out wide. His 4th ace of the match for Taylor Fritz. Makes it 40-15. Fritz looking to take a 2-1 lead here in set number 3. Serve out wide to the Djokovic forehand. Heck of a return, but a better reply from Fritz, who then follows it forward, knocks off the volley winner, and Taylor Fritz on serve at 2-1 in the third. Djokovic leads by 2-0. We'll take a break and come right back on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Back inside Arthur Ashe Stadium as Novak Djokovic is up 2-0 on serve in the third. Taylor Fritz leading 2-1. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross is courtside. Gil, a lot going on that changeover. Fritz had his feet out of his shoes. Djokovic was stretching, it looked like. What did you observe there?
I was focused on Novak. Full stretching routine, neck, back, trapezoid.
Trapezius?
Trapezius, yes, thank you. Not trapezoid, that's a shape. Yeah, he went full, it kind of reminded me of Ichiro Suzuki, who used to just do stretching in the outfield the whole game, and Novak is similar in his affinity for stretching.
And Taylor Fritz looked to be cooling his heels, literally. He had his feet outside of his shoes, but only the heels out, and then put his feet back in, retied, and here we go. They're both on the court, both with their shoes tied. Novak all stretched out and first serve at 1-2. A little serve and volley from Novak out wide of the forehand. And it's a miss on the return from Fritz, and it's 15-love.
Multiple wide serve volleys from Novak here in the third set. Such a master technician and tactician.
So 15-love to Djokovic, 1-2, third set. Here comes the serve to the backhand again, serving and volleying, half volley into the middle of the court. Fritz had his pick. Djokovic guessed one way, Fritz went the other, and it's 15-all. And Novak's now like grabbing his head and stretching his neck.
Yeah, I didn't think much of it at the change of ends. I figured he's just trying to loosen up, but the fact that he's doing it in between points now suggests he's definitely feeling a little stiff right now in the neck.
15-all here. First serve offering from Novak Djokovic, trying to go down the tee for an ace, and it's long. So Fritz will have a look at his second serve. And once again, Djokovic taking his sweet time in his motion for the second serve. And here comes the offering out to the forehand of Fritz. Return to the forehand of Djokovic down the line into the backhand corner of Fritz. Novak going behind Fritz to the backhand side now. Down the line and long with the backhand, and it's 15-30.
One of the few times we've seen Novak miss the backhand down the line. He's been very effective with that shot, very efficient so far, but once again, Taylor Fritz knocking on the door of the Djokovic serve.
15-30 now. Another opening for Fritz on the Djokovic serve. Taylor is 1 for 11 on breakpoint chances in this match. It's one of the telltale stats of this match. He's had chances. He's got another one here at 15-30. It's not a breakpoint, but it's a chance to put himself in the driving seat here in the return game. First serve from Djokovic to the backhand of Fritz. Return deep into the backhand corner, a little too deep, and it's 30-all.
It was a fairly good wide serve from Novak Djokovic, not so wide that Taylor had to take his second hand off the racket. And normally when Taylor gets two hands on a backhand return, that return goes in. So that was a little bit of a missed opportunity.
30-all now, Novak Djokovic. Serving on serve in the third, and here comes the windup and delivery down the tee. Taylor Fritz pops a backhand down the middle. Big forehand inside out to the backhand side of Fritz. Is too hot to handle, and Djokovic has a game point for 2-all.
Oh, it's a game of millimeters. No, I think Novak thought he had missed that forehand. It landed on the back half of the baseline. What a difference between 40-30 and 30-40 by the smallest of margins. It was so deep that Taylor Fritz missed his backhand, but Novak flirting with danger there.
Looked like Novak just popped the ball out of play. He went to bounce it, got it over to Damien Dumoussois, the chair umpire. And Novak will now serve at 40-30. First serve into the backhand of Fritz, returned into the forehand wing of Novak. Was Fritz running to his forehand. Now Novak tries to change directions with his forehand down the line and misses wide. It's deuce.
Just an enormous forehand from Taylor Fritz there. The backhand return was solid. He got two hands on it. Was moved to his forehand, but that time with the balance and the core strength to drive a cross-court forehand at a ferocious pace.
Djokovic getting exceedingly agitated now as he tries to step to the line as fans call out as Novak is trying to get into his motion. And now Novak steps away, and Damien Dumoussois asks the fans not to talk.
Don't tell a New Yorker not to talk, Russ. It's the first mistake.
And every time someone says something, Novak sort of stops bouncing and starts again. First serve at deuce into the top of the net. And now some collapse, and Novak's going to get even more annoyed.
We've been here before.
The problem is you don't want to make this man too angry.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's 23,000 people in here, so it becomes a challenge to get everybody to behave. It's a lot of people.
And with silence, a second serve is a double fault from Novak Djokovic. And
we'll see how Novak plays this. I mean, is it going to be him against the crowd now? I mean, because they're starting, he's allowed this to happen. If he had have just gotten on with the job there and made the serve, this incident would not have happened. It was only one or two voices.
And now Djokovic is walking up to the chair umpire and arguing vociferously.
Yeah, it's Damien Dumassois in the chair.
I just mean when both players are ready, stop shouting. What did you say? Okay, I just said it. So now if you play, I'm going to say something. It's not going to help Novak.
I'm not sure how much of that was picked up by our courtside mic, but Djokovic went over to Damien Dumassois and immediately said, "Are you going to say something?"
And Dumassois said, "I just did," and told him basically to get back to the line and serve. It's break point for Taylor Fritz. Djokovic serving at 1-2 in the third. He's up 2 sets to love, but he's growing exceedingly agitated by the fans here at Arthur Ashe Stadium yelling out. It's quiet, and Djokovic is serving and misses that serve. And a big cheer from the crowd at Arthur Ashe Stadium, who are starting to turn on Novak Djokovic just a little bit. Second serve now, add out. Fritz takes the backhand, return it to the backhand side of Novak. Now runs around a backhand, goes inside out. Now Fritz again massages a backhand down into the middle of the court. They go backhand to backhand. Now Fritz goes inside in down the line. Forehand to forehand from Djokovic to Fritz, and a forehand error from the American brings us back to deuce.
Terrific composure from Djokovic there. Just when you thought he was getting rattled, and I was half sensing an unforced error might come off his racket, he really locked down, as he's done for all these years, and hit a very penetrating forehand over to Taylor's forehand. Taylor flinched.
1-2 deuce in a serving game that has now exceeded 7 minutes in length. Djokovic has had to work extremely hard, but has managed to hold all but one of his service games. First serve into the backhand of Fritz, a backhand to the backhand. Now Djokovic goes to the forehand of Fritz. Fritz whips it cross court into the forehand of Djokovic, and Novak puts it into the net, and it'll be a break chance for Taylor Fritz.
Another one of those vicious cross-court forehands with angle that have paid some dividends. That's a pattern that's worked for Taylor Fritz tonight, putting Novak on the full stretch to his forehand.
Not now, please, sir. Thank you.
Novak Djokovic, he's bouncing the ball and bouncing and bouncing, and finally he's serving, and it's into the net. And Fritz has a look at a second serve. Novak takes a couple of deep breaths here as he faces a break point at 1-2 in the third set. It is the 13th breakpoint opportunity of the match for Taylor Fritz. Fritz returned into the backhand of Djokovic. Now Fritz inside out to the backhand of Djokovic. He goes down the line into the forehand of Fritz. Now into the backhand corner of Taylor Fritz. Djokovic throws in a dropper. Here comes Taylor moving in into the open court. And Taylor Fritz has the break of serve for 3-1 in the third. And the fans are on their feet at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Just what Taylor Fritz needed there was just a little bit of a break in Novak's rhythm. He bounced the ball so many times that he sort of incited the crowd to get impatient. And of course, he's the master at overcoming these things historically, but it just seemed a bit unnecessary to antagonize the crowd when you're up 2 sets.
And here comes the next challenge for Taylor Fritz, because when he finally got the break back in the second set. Now Novak is walking back towards Damien Dumoulin.
He just wants another racket.
Oh, that's okay.
That's all. That's all. The crowd thought he was going to argue, and gets a smile out of Novak.
And Novak saying no. He's actually waving like, no. Don't be mad at me for this one, guys.
No, I think he's saying, you booed me, now don't cheer me. I think he's like, I don't want these cheers. These are pity cheers.
All right, let's see how Taylor Fritz handles Prosperity this time. As I was saying, it was a really loose service game after the first time he broke. Ended up losing him pretty much the second set. Second serve into the body of Djokovic. Djokovic now puts a backhand into the net on the second ball, and it's 15-love.
Just a little dip here from Novak Djokovic with his consistency, and Taylor Fritz needed this in the worst way. He needed a little dip from Novak to give him some hope, a flicker of life.
First serve at 15-love into the forehand of Djokovic, who tries to chip a return back, but it doesn't cross the net, and it's 30-love.
Taylor, conversely, just bouncing the ball 2 times before he gets into his delivery, although he is catching ball tosses. That's about his 11th court ball toss.
All right, first serve at 30-love, out to the forehand. Chip return from Djokovic cross court. Now he goes down the line into the backhand of Fritz, who goes back to the backhand of Djokovic. Now we're running forehand cross court from Novak. Chip reply from Fritz. Novak's coming in. Novak senses the cross court pass. He's there, but can't make the volley because it's so well done from Taylor Fritz, and it's 40-love.
Yeah, Taylor Fritz's cross-court backhand pass, even if you know it's coming, it's hard to defend because it dives just over the net and then dives right at your toes so often. It's a very difficult volley to make.
So Fritz down the tee, and a hold at love. An ace for the cherry on top, and it's a 4-1 lead in the third for Taylor Fritz. And Gil, it feels like momentum and also sentiment has shifted greatly at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Well, that was an incredible 5 minutes from Taylor Fritz. I mean, you can't say enough about that break point conversion, which has been so difficult for him all match long. Djokovic actually hit a phenomenal sliding, running backhand down the line to get himself back in the point, but then ultimately it was Fritz chasing down a drop shot to convert the break point. It was well covered, and he handled it well once he got there. And then that service game was impeccable stuff from Taylor. So it's a level raise from Fritz. As far as the crowd is concerned, I mean, look, the top American is playing inside Arthur Ashe and down 2-0. So this was always going to be a situation where you had more of the crowd shifting towards Taylor, perhaps getting more rowdy, more vocal in his favor, and maybe at this point in the night, a little bit more mischievous as far as when they're making noise. But yeah, Novak is somebody, he doesn't hide his displeasure with the crowd, and what that does is it makes it worse, because there are going to be, you know, it's a signal to the fans that what they're doing is actually working, at least they think it is. Normally on the court, they end up paying dearly for that, as Djokovic, again, I'm going to just use the same terminology, sticks it to them at some point in time. But yeah, this is classic. This is classic Djokovic inside Ashe under the lights. We've seen it before.
I wouldn't want to play tennis against Novak Djokovic, but poker, you might be able to read what he's feeling about his hand at all times, because Novak doesn't hide much in the emotions department. Now it's 1-4 with Djokovic serving. First serve to the forehand of Fritz. They're into the rally. Backhand to backhand they go here. Now Djokovic tries to change directions and go down the line, and it's wide, and it's love 15. This set could be getting away from Novak Djokovic pretty quickly if he doesn't button it up a little bit more.
Yeah, for now, Taylor Fritz is in a comfort zone from the baseline. I feel like he's just found his rhythm. He's being aggressive without overcooking them, so he's in a good space for the moment.
That's first serve long from Novak Djokovic at love 15. Fritz has a look at his second serve, and again steps up and then steps back 2 steps. He's about 4 feet behind the baseline now to return. Now he steps in, and Novak goes second serve T ace, 15 all. Wow.
That was basically a first serve. What did that clock in at?
Just
100 miles an hour?
Yeah, just 100.
Like a good solid three-quarter first serve.
So calm from Djokovic. 1-4, 15 all, slicing it out wide to the forehand. Serving volley for Novak. Forehand volley into the open court, and it's 30-15.
It's interesting how he's waited till deeper in the match to break out the wide serve volley to the deuce court. He's starting to employ it quite a bit now. Perhaps does he feel like Taylor's tiring just a fraction?
30-15, Djokovic serving into the backhand now. Fritz returns off the top of the tape, and it floats wide, so it's 40-15 game points for Novak Djokovic.
Some quality serving here to steady the ship. You can always rely on, when you've got great technique with a certain shot, it's nice to be able to rely on that shot under duress, and Novak certainly has wonderful technique on his serve.
So Djokovic into his windup now at 40-15. Slides one out to the forehand of Fritz. The forehand return is into the net. Djokovic holds rather easily, but Fritz still leads 4-2 in the third.
Yeah, Novak found a little tactical play there. He went to the forehand again, but this time he didn't serve volley. So just the little tricks that you can play on the returner, sprinkling in serve volley with stay back and the locations. Novak just pitching a nice little service game there.
Taylor Fritz looking to extend his lead in set number 3, and he starts with an ace down the tee for 15 love, his 6th ace of the match.
Starting to find his service rhythm. That one clocked in at 132. He's up to 54% for the match now. It was in the 40s just a little while ago.
15 love, and he catches another toss, does Taylor Fritz, so he'll re-rack and try it again, and an ace down the tee for 30 love from Taylor Fritz.
And the crowd is really getting behind him. They're cheering every ace, and even faults from Novak are getting a smattering of applause.
2.5 hours into this match on Arthur Ashe Stadium. Taylor Fritz serving 30 love. Big forehand serve into the forehand from Fritz. Novak hanging around in the point, playing some defense, tracking down and overhead first, but then an inside-out forehand from winner from Fritz, and it's 40 love.
Now Novak, of course, responds to the crowd being against him, but I really feel like it's lifting Taylor Fritz right now. He was a little despondent, 2 sets to love down, and this commotion with Novak and injecting the crowd into the match, I think, is really working for Taylor, riding that American sentiment.
And another ace from Taylor Fritz down the tee, and a hold for 5-2 in the third. Novak Djokovic will serve to stay in this third set when we come back on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Russ Thaler and David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross sideline at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Men's quarterfinal night here at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Novak Djokovic took the first 2 sets from Taylor Fritz, 6-3, 7-5. But Djokovic steps to the line at 2-5 in the third, looking to stay in this third set against the American. First serve to the backhand of Fritz, returned into the middle of the court, inside out on the approach from Djokovic, and the error from Fritz, and it's 15 love.
Taylor Fritz has 16 winners in 7 games here in this third set. That's a great number for Taylor.
He's definitely raised his game, as Taylor Fritz has, as the crowd has gotten behind him. Djokovic has gotten more irritated. He missed a first serve here at 15 love, so Fritz has a look at a second serve. Second serve into the backhand of Fritz, return down the middle, backhand to the forehand side of Fritz, and Taylor whips a forehand well long, and it's 30 love.
He struggled just a little bit on the forehand when Novak's gone with pace into that side. I think that's something that Novak will be looking to do in the big baseline rallies as this match gets tighter and tighter.
30 love for Djokovic. That's deep on the first serve. He was serving and volleying there at 30 love. So a second serve coming from Novak Djokovic. Into the backhand, a return to the forehand of Djokovic, whips it cross court to the forehand of Fritz. Now down the line, they go backhand to backhand. And now Djokovic widens out the backhand to the backhand of Fritz, and Taylor puts it into the net. It's 40 love.
That was a strength on strength right there. Cross court backhand to cross court backhand. Novak finally caught one so pure that Taylor was rushed into a mistake, but it was a masterclass of two-handed backhands.
Game points now for 3-5 in the third. Djokovic again missing the first serve long towards the Taylor Fritz forehand. Second serve from Djokovic. Kicker towards the backhand, clips the top of the net. Fascinating to see Novak taking so much time between most serves, although now he's stepping back to the line. In his last match against Jan-Lennard Struff of Germany, who plays fast, Novak decided to play faster than Struff, so he was rushing to the line. Tonight he's taking his time much more between points. First serve at 40-15, and another missed serve from Novak Djokovic, long. So now it's a second serve, another game point for 3-5 in the third. Novak Djokovic to the forehand of Fritz, a big forehand return into the forehand of Novak, who just throws in a drop shot now off the backhand. Fritz rushing in and can't do anything with that. Game to Djokovic, a dropper sort of out of nowhere, beautifully done, and it's 5-3.
One of the few times the backhand drop shot has worked for Novak tonight. On hard courts, obviously it's a much riskier proposition than on clay and on grass, as the ball bounces higher, and Taylor's, for the most part, pounced on his drop shots when he's gone for them. That one was from such an improbable position in the court that it did catch Taylor by surprise, and here we go. Can Taylor hold his nerve here at 5-3 and keep this match alive?
Taylor Fritz serving for the third, looking to extend this match at least to a fourth set. Stepping to the line in his first serve into the forehand of Djokovic. Big return down the middle, and a backhand error from Taylor Fritz for love 15.
Quality returners. Typical Djokovic return, firm and deep up the middle. Certainly a ball that Taylor could have absorbed, though.
Love 15. First serve from Taylor Fritz, trying to go out wide. He misses his mark. Djokovic will have a look at a second serve. He steps up right on top of the baseline. Does Novak Djokovic, takes the backhand return, cross court into the backhand of Fritz. Now a backhand again to the backhand of Fritz. A slice backhand short in the court to the backhand of Fritz. Now Djokovic trying to change direction, shanks it long, and it's 15 all.
Yeah, Taylor Fritz didn't give Novak any angle in that point. It was very middle-ish, just the backhand side of the middle. Novak almost could have slid around and punished a forehand, and he's ruining that decision as his body weight was not transferring into that backhand.
15 all now. Fritz into his windup. A serve to the forehand of Novak Djokovic, and a forehand return into the net by Djokovic.
Taylor wisely taking a little off the first serve there. He doesn't want to be hitting too many second serves. Just a good quality first serve with a +1 is what he's looking for right now.
30-15, 2 points from the set for Taylor Fritz. An ace out wide. 9th of the match, and 2 set points coming for Taylor Fritz.
And that first serve percentage has climbed all the way up to 56 now for the match. It was in the 40s, I think, at the beginning. So a really good set of serving thus far from Taylor, if he can finish it off.
Just under 70% for this third set for Taylor Fritz on first serve, and he catches his toss one more time. 40-15, set point. Fritz, first serve into the forehand of Djokovic. Return to the forehand of Fritz, down the line to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a forehand into the forehand of Djokovic, back to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand of Djokovic into the forehand of Fritz. Back down the line, and Djokovic goes for the dropper. Way too high. Fritz is there. Fritz puts it right on the racket of Djokovic, but on the second try, Taylor Fritz takes the set with a forehand winner. 6-3. We are going to a fourth set on Arthur Ashe Stadium with Novak Djokovic up 2-1 on Taylor Fritz. And we'll be right back on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Deeper into the night we go, 10:51 in the PM in New York City here at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. Russ Thaler and David McPherson on the call here in studio at US Open Radio. Gil Gross courtside at Arthur Ashe Stadium as Taylor Fritz has just taken the third set from Novak Djokovic, who won the first two. 6-3 in the third for Fritz. Djokovic will start with the serve in the fourth. What was the difference, Macca, between Taylor Fritz in sets 1 and 2 and Taylor Fritz in set 3?
Well, it was almost just a little lapse from Novak, I thought, that sort of freed Taylor up. He had the altercation with the crowd, a little poor serving, a few mistakes, and then all of a sudden Taylor found a rhythm. He started to get free points on serve. Once he got up a break, he really relaxed, and then he didn't really give Novak much of a look in from there. So obviously the beginning of the fourth set will be critical. It will be just like Novak to lock in and start being stingy on serve. So Taylor is a long way from being out of the woods yet.
What are you seeing down there, Gil?
I just felt Fritz let loose at the start of the third set. The pace went way up on his forehand. He's had trouble when Djokovic has been able to create and make the first move, whether that be heavy pace into Fritz's forehand or creativity with the net rushing and the point construction. But Fritz was in charge on a larger percentage of the points in the third.
Well, let's see who takes charge here early in the fourth. First point, fourth set, Novak Djokovic serving far court to Taylor Fritz. And it is long. We want to thank all of you watching us on the YouTube stream and on usopen.org, and also listening on usopen.org, and also the US Open app, SiriusXM, and TuneIn as well. Here comes Novak Djokovic. First point, fourth set. Return from Taylor Fritz to the backhand and Novak down the middle. Reply to the backhand and Novak. Now down the line goes Djokovic to the forehand, and into the net comes Djokovic. Backhand volley into the forehand of Fritz, and that defensive lob sails long, and it's 15-love.
Very nice backhand volley from Novak Djokovic there. Very competent at net when he does choose to come in.
Djokovic was only 3 of 7 at the net in set 3 because Fritz's backhand pass came up with some magic when he needed it.
15-love on the Djokovic serve. First game of the fourth set. Djokovic trying to go down the tee, but it's wide. Second serve coming. 15-love. Djokovic serve into the backhand of Fritz, return into the backhand of Djokovic. Now a forehand from Taylor down to the forehand of Djokovic. And Taylor Fritz puts a forehand into the net. Looks a little frustrated with himself, and it's 30-love.
Yeah, we're seeing patterns develop here, and when Novak's able to hit big with a lot of velocity into the Fritz forehand, he's finding a little bit of success there. Taylor absorbs pace so well off the backhand.
Oh, it's 30-love for Djokovic, opening game of the 4th set. And that's a fault into the net. Fritz about 4 feet behind the baseline, ready to return the second serve of Novak Djokovic. Now he steps up. Djokovic goes hard and deep and out. He was trying to go hard and wide to the forehand of Fritz on that second serve. He's done it a lot during this match with good success. That time it was a double fault. 7th of the match for Taylor Fritz. 30-15, excuse me, for Novak Djokovic. 30-15. And again, Djokovic into the heavy ball bouncing. First serve into the forehand of Fritz. Return to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a Fritz backhand to the backhand of Novak, to the forehand of Fritz, to the forehand of Djokovic. Forehand cross court from Fritz. Djokovic goes down the line to the backhand of Fritz. Now Fritz goes to the forehand of Novak, who goes cross court, has Fritz on the run. Fritz goes further angle on the forehand, and Novak chops a forehand back to reset. Fritz trying to go down the line, moving forward, puts it into the net, and it's 40-15.
Yes, Taylor Fritz had done a great job of asserting superiority in that point. He'd worked it to the stage of the point where he really was in control and missed a forehand down the line. Very irate at himself to have worked so hard to put himself in that position, just to miss it in the tape.
17-stroke rally there. Won by Novak Djokovic on the forehand, error by Fritz. First serve at 40-15 down the tee. Nice return from Fritz to get back to neutral. Now Novak chips it low down the middle of the court. Taylor whips a forehand into the corner and now goes for the dropper. Here comes Novak moving forward. Fritz goes for the backhand pass. Well done on the movement from Novak Djokovic to hold for 1-love.
Great moving from Novak Djokovic there. There was a ball that bounced right on the baseline that he covered, and then the next one was barely over the net, so Novak's north and south movement there was outstanding. Seems to have calmed his emotions, again reset. We'll see how it develops in the 4th set with the crowd, but for the moment Novak looks very composed.
Novak taking a couple swigs from the water bottles at his bench as they change ends. They don't sit down after the first game of the set. Taylor Fritz quickly up to the line, ready to serve at love 1 in set number 4. Fritz won the third set, 6-3. Djokovic took the first 2. First serve from Fritz is down the tee. Djokovic misses the return, and it's 15-love.
Yeah, Taylor really has elevated his serving after a somewhat rocky start. Had that little blip at 5-all in the second. That was a poor service game, but in the third he was rock solid. Opens up here with a big one down the tee.
Fritz has been pretty dominant on first serve during this match. There's an ace from Fritz, his 10th of the match. He's converted on 88% of his first serve points when his first serve is in. Second serve, much different story, under 40% on the conversion rate. And after missing a first serve here at 30-love, Djokovic will have a look at a second serve from Taylor Fritz. Into the backhand, and Djokovic returns right down the middle to the backhand of Fritz. Hard inside out backhand into the forehand, forcing the error from Novak Djokovic.
And I think that's what Gil was talking about earlier, just finding some more authority on the first and second shots, being the dictator in the point, but staying under control. In the beginning, he was overcooking a few, but he's in a nice rhythm right now.
And a big first serve there from Taylor Fritz, and a hold at love. It's 1-all.
Yeah, what an impressive first serve percentage or win rate for Taylor, but he does lead the tour in that category. He is better than everybody else on first serve win rate, and I actually told Taylor that after he won 91% of his first serve points against Mahach. Taylor said he was not aware of that stat, but then he was self-deprecating and he called himself a bot.
He's more than a bot. We all know that.
I told him that too. He wouldn't listen.
He's a bot with a huge forehand, is what he is.
1-all. Novak Djokovic serving into the backhand of Fritz. Return to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a forehand from Novak has Taylor running to his forehand side. Novak coming in down the line and inside out and long for love 15.
A little bit of an out of sorts forehand from Novak Djokovic. He'd gotten Taylor out of position. A routine down the line approach shot, missed long. You just sense that Taylor is coming here. The momentum is definitely with him.
Love 15 at 1-all in the fourth. Novak Djokovic going into the extended bounces again. Now he's ready to go, and he misses the first serve into the tape.
A lot of ball bounces on both serves, first and second.
And now he's ready. Djokovic, second serve at love 15 into the forehand of Fritz, and the Taylor with that forehand return brings us back to the first two sets. It was a bit of an ugly looking forehand return.
He knew it was coming, and he just smothered it into the tape. I mean,
maybe overran it a little bit, actually, like he jumped towards his forehand and it got in on him.
Yep, he's got to execute that shot. That's a fairly simple return. It should be. He should be punishing Novak on second serve to the forehand.
All right, 15-all now on the Djokovic serve, down the tee. Taylor gets his racket on it. Novak follows it into the net and knocks off a little forehand volley angled winner for 30-15.
Novak definitely coming forward more on. He's really implementing the serve and volley more in the third and fourth sets here. Just mixing it up on Taylor. Taylor cannot get away with a block return right now or a high return.
30-15 now on the Djokovic serve. Taylor Fritz standing well behind the baseline to return this first serve offering from Novak Djokovic. Trying to go into the backhand of Fritz to Djokovic, clipped the top of the net and sailed wide. So second serve at 30-15. Novak Djokovic again into the ball bouncing routine. And now he's ready to go. Here comes the second serve to the backhand of Fritz. Return to the forehand of Djokovic. Inside out to the backhand. Now backhand to backhand. Djokovic very deep on the backhand reply to the backhand of Fritz. Fritz down the middle of the court. Djokovic slices towards the backhand side. Now a forehand inside out from Fritz that hits the net. And it's 40-15. And Fritz knew he had a chance there. He was mad at himself for missing that one.
Yes, and Novak caught a break too with his backhand that must have just caught the very back edge of the line. Every point so significant right now here early in the fourth, and unforced errors like that are so costly when you have the momentum. If Taylor could press home the advantage here and play 10 minutes of good tennis, this crowd would be alive.
All right, here's the first serve at 40-15 from Novak Djokovic down the tee. Ace number 10 of the match for Novak. On serve, he leads 2-1 in the fourth and 2-1 over Taylor Fritz. We'll take a quick break and be right back on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Taylor Fritz serving at 1-2 in the fourth. Quickly, Gil, what was going on the changeover with Novak?
Yeah, just constant stretching routines by Novak. And we all know he loves stretching, but that's not exactly normal. I mean, it is on hypercharged mode.
Doing it from a seated position, right?
Yes.
Second serve, first point at 1-2 from Fritz. Well done into the body of Novak Djokovic. He couldn't get his hips out of the way of that. Nice body serve from Taylor Fritz.
Taylor Fritz is more effective when he's going for his second serve. We saw those rogue double faults at 5-all in the second set. That's when he was just trying to roll it in. But when he's trying to be offensive, he's much better.
Well, that was an offensive first serve from Taylor Fritz down the tee. Forehand into the net from Djokovic, and it's 30-love. Now here comes Taylor Fritz. 30-love at 1-2 in the fourth. Looking for the ace down the tee there. Finds the net. And a second serve now for Taylor Fritz.
And Novak's retreated way deep to receive second serve.
And Novak returns a big forehand down the middle to the forehand of Fritz. Now into the backhand corner of Taylor Fritz. Novak goes for the dropper. It's a beauty. Fritz gets to it and does an amazing job of pushing it down the line just inside the baseline. And Novak hits a defensive lob long, and it's 40-love. I think Djokovic can't believe that Taylor Fritz not only got to the ball, but did to it what he did when he got there.
Oh, and Taylor loved that. He loves a defensive get, and the crowd did too. I mean, it's almost like that's more than just 1 point there. He feels so good about himself.
And a big first serve at 40-love. A return is wide from Novak Djokovic. And how about a hold at love for Taylor Fritz?
An incredible first serve percentage won there, getting up to about 90% against Novak Djokovic. Are you kidding me? That's just a testament not only to his huge first serve, but then that first strike. It's so deadly.
And the first serve is one shot that I feel has gotten better and better as this match has progressed for Taylor. Last couple service games, everything's like 125 close to the lines. It has gone up a level.
Big time. He's serving huge and making them. He's up to 57. He was in the mid-40s there at one point.
2 games all, fourth set. Novak Djokovic trying to keep pace now with Taylor Fritz. The fans continue to yell out, and Novak steps off and restarts his service motion. A little bit of a repeat of what we saw in set number 3. And here we go. First serve to the forehand of Fritz, and that's well done. Good spot serving from Novak Djokovic. It's 15-love.
Yeah, intelligent serving. Taylor's playing quite deep on first serve return, so it does open up the opportunity to cut it wide and overstretch him there, and that's exactly what happened.
15-love on the Djokovic serve at 2-all in the fourth. Djokovic leads 2-1. First serve into the backhand of Fritz, and now Fritz sends a forehand sailing long, puts his hands over his head like, I can't believe I just missed a rally ball there, and it's 30-love.
And that stemming from trying to be aggressive. I think he knows that he's got to cut his forehand loose. It's what got him the third set. That time he just overplayed it a touch, but I think it's the right strategy to impose that forehand.
First serve down the middle into the backhand of Fritz. The return is long. 40-love for Novak Djokovic. Taylor Fritz held it love. Djokovic trying to see that hold at love and take a 3-2 lead in the fourth. Closing in on the 3-hour mark here on Arthur Ashe Stadium. First serve at 40-love. Tries to go for the ace out wide. It's just long. Djokovic was actually serving and volleying on that one again. Second serve coming at 40-love. Novak Djokovic trying to get his nose in front here in the fourth set. Backhand return from Fritz deep into the backhand corner of Novak Djokovic. Well done from the American. It forces the error, and it's 40-15.
And you see why Novak hasn't hit many second serves to Taylor Fritz's backhand, because that's a deep cross-court ball that he can do all night. So that is why he's been going to the forehand predominantly on second serve return.
I guess at 40-love, it's not a bad way to keep him honest, at least. And a big first serve down the tee from Djokovic. Inside out, moves forward. Djokovic forehand volley, though, sails long. Fritz did well to keep the passing shot low.
I think Novak hesitated just for a fraction too. He hit the shot. For a minute there he was going to stay back, and then he decided to come in, and he only made it just inside the service line. So a little bit of indecisiveness there. I think had he just committed to the approach shot, the volley would have been a lot easier.
All right, 40-30. This service game now tightening up for Novak Djokovic. It looked like he was cruising to a love hold. Now he's got some pressure on him at 40-30. Djokovic winding up and sending it down the tee to the forehand of Fritz. Deep return into the backhand. Fritz pushing the pace now to the backhand of Djokovic. Now a backhand cross court again. Backhand from Djokovic sails long, and it's deuce.
Fantastic forehand return off first serve there from Taylor Fritz. I feel like Novak's backhand down the line has gone away. It's been a little while since he's employed that tactics successfully.
He missed a couple, and he started backing off on it just a little bit.
I think that's what's happened, and it was such a big, integral part of him getting on top of the match in the first 2 sets.
Deuce now at 2-all. Things getting spicy at Arthur Ashe Stadium. First serve from Djokovic down the tee. Unreturnable. Not an ace, but might as well have been one.
Just as valuable. Taylor could only get his frame on it there. 120 miles an hour and absolutely smack on the tee. What a time to play that, just as things were starting to get a little bit anxious.
Game point again for Djokovic. Remember, he was up 40-love in this game. Now it's add in. First serve from Djokovic. Going for the backhand side of Taylor Fritz, but it's long.
I'd be surprised if Novak didn't direct this second serve at the forehand, or the body at the very least. Doesn't want to give Taylor another look at a cross-court backhand.
Here comes Novak Djokovic. Second serve into the body. Backhand side of Fritz. Return to the backhand of Djokovic. Now in the middle of the court. Inside in forehand from Taylor. Now a cross-court backhand into the net. Fritz had him where he wanted him, but didn't execute on the backhand. So Djokovic holds for 3-2. We'll stay here on U.S. Open Radio at Arthur Ashe Stadium and send it down to Gil Gross. Gil, 3 hours into this match right now. Who looks the fresher of the two?
Well, I would say Fritz. I think Taylor is not showing any signs of physical fatigue, whereas Novak throughout the match has just expressed a little bit more vulnerability in that department. I would say it looks like he's slowed down a hair. It's not as if Djokovic is in dire straits, but then, you also have, again, the constant stretching, which is not normal. He actually hasn't this changeover, at least so far. But look, this is the big question in the bigger picture for Djokovic for this match, if it goes 5, and then obviously for the next match in a couple of days against, it would be Carlos Alcaraz. At 37, is the physicality on Djokovic's side? Can he do 7 best-of-5 set matches? Obviously, he can get to the latter stages. He has proven that in the last 2 years. What he hasn't shown is that he has enough juice in the legs and the body when he faces the elite competition at the end of the tournament to get across the finish line. That's where it's been shaky for Novak, and it's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on as this match progresses.
I feel like his creativity has just dipped a little bit. The first 2 sets we were remarking on the backhands down the line, the forehands down the line, just the strategical way of keeping the point short. I feel like that's fallen off a little bit, and now we're just sort of in a war of attrition, which is what Taylor was hoping for, I think, at the beginning of the match.
All that said, Novak Djokovic leads 2-1. Taylor Fritz serving from behind here on serve in the 4th at 2-3. You also know, and we also know from experience, that Novak Djokovic can turn this set on a dime with a shot or two. Taylor Fritz is going to have to be locked in, and here he is, backhand, deep into the backhand corner, now moving Djokovic to his forehand corner. Now Fritz moving Djokovic again to his backhand corner. He's got Novak on a string. Djokovic giving him an error, and it's 15-love.
Perfect point for Taylor Fritz. Not only did he win it, but he put some miles on the Djokovic tires, and that's exactly what he's trying to do here in the 4th set. Make Novak really work hard for every point.
15-love. First serve looking to go down the tee. Novak had it covered, but it hit the net. Second serve from Fritz. Also down the tee into the forehand of Djokovic. Big return to the backhand of Fritz. Now Taylor rolls one deep to the backhand of Novak, who goes short angle on the backhand, then tries to go shorter angle inside out on the forehand. Shanks it, does Djokovic, and it's 30-love.
That's that improved Taylor Fritz defense there. That was a really wide backhand that he found a way to make one more shot. Novak with the unforced error there, but that's good moving from Taylor Fritz.
30-love, and a big serve into the forehand, and an even bigger return from Djokovic. Novak's into the midcourt as Taylor could only pop one up sort of defensively. What a huge shot from Novak off the forehand wing and then cleans it up.
That was like that iconic forehand return he hit against Roger down match point, where he just unloads on the stretch forehand return and generates a ton of pace.
Big first serve from Fritz to the forehand of Djokovic, and then back behind him, forcing the error off the backhand, and it's 40-15 for Taylor Fritz.
And that's the type of stretch backhand that we expect Novak to make with his incredible physical skills. And that one came up a little short, possibly showing a sign of fatigue.
40-15 for Taylor Fritz. And a big first serve out wide that Djokovic can't handle. And a hold for Taylor Fritz. It is 3-all in the fourth.
There's also more forcefulness in Fritz's game now, so the frequency in which we're seeing Djokovic have to run hard into the corners has increased, and that's really what takes it out of the legs.
And the tide appears to be turning in Taylor Fritz's favor. He serves so well, he's managing his service games, and then, as Gil said, starting to get a little bit more velocity on his forehand, imposing his will upon the rallies.
Now Fritz jumping up and down a little bit, sensing the opportunity, understanding the moment at 3-all in the fourth. Novak Djokovic's level has dropped ever so slightly. Fritz has to be sensing that the chance could be there to take the lead as Djokovic blows a first serve long on the first point of this, the seventh game of the fourth set. 3-all in the fourth, Djokovic up 2-1. But Fritz won the third, and Novak here at 3-all has a second serve on the first point of the game. Here we go. Into the Fritz forehand, down the middle to the forehand of Djokovic. It goes well inside out to the Fritz backhand, forcing the error, and it's 15-love.
And there's that nice, pure down-the-line stroke, this time off the forehand wing that Novak employed so well early in the match. I really feel like that's the way for him to go, is to trust his technique, take the down-the-line opportunities when they present themselves. Especially deeper in the match, they're harder to track down for Taylor Fritz, who is still in great shape, but still those down the lines are punishing.
15-love to Djokovic. First serve clips the top of the tape, sails long, second serve coming. You can feel the tension in Arthur Ashe Stadium right now. Djokovic serving at 15-love, second serve. Kicker to the backhand of Fritz. Cross-court return to the backhand of Djokovic. Fritz tries to go down the line, clips the net. Into the court it goes, and Novak steps all over it. Hits a cross-court forehand winner for 30-love.
A wicked angle from Novak there. Taylor Fritz's attempted backhand down the line, wrapped into the tape and popped up. Good job by Novak closing in, quick steps to get into the court. He took the ball at its optimal height to get a winner.
Novak Djokovic now at 30-love. 3-all in the fourth. Out wide serve to the forehand. Djokovic follows it in, and a backhand volley cross-court into the open court for the winner. Serve and volley from Djokovic, and it's 40-love.
Yeah, the wide serve volley to the deuce court is starting to come out more and more. And that's where Taylor might be well advised to go to his low chip, which he can do well. And that's a much tougher volley to put away if you get that chip down at the shins and the ankles.
40-love for Djokovic. First serve, again, trying to go out wide. It's up the line. Second serve coming.
He was serve volleying again as well.
Second serve from Novak Djokovic. Ooh, he went for the ace up the tee. Just missed it wide. Not by much, but he knows it. Turns right back around, asks for a couple of balls from the ball crew.
And 8 double faults is a pretty big number for Novak Djokovic with his incredible serve.
Here we go, 40-15, a point for 4-3 for Novak Djokovic here in the fourth set. Serve out wide to the forehand, big return to the backhand. Djokovic goes into the open court with his own backhand and fouls it in. But Taylor Fritz puts his reply into the net, and Novak Djokovic holds for 4-3 in the fourth as we take a break on U.S. Open Radio, presented by American Express. Back at Arthur Ashe Stadium, and Taylor Fritz is right up to the line, serving at 3-4 in the fourth set. Novak Djokovic leading 2-1. Fritz serving in the near court to Djokovic. First serve is wide as he tries to slide it wide to the Djokovic forehand. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross is courtside in Arthur Ashe Stadium. Second serve to the Djokovic backhand. He returns it to the middle of the court, and Taylor Fritz's backhand goes cross-court to the Djokovic backhand. Now a slice backhand from Djokovic as Fritz rolls it deep to the backhand of Djokovic. Forehand from Fritz down the line. Djokovic sliding to get it. Fritz moving in, trying to fly in on an overhead and hits it wide. The overhead, he hits wide for love 15. Fritz did everything right in that point except the finish.
Oh my goodness, that one hurts because, as you said, Russ, he did everything right, set up the easy smash, but just caught it on the throat of the strings and it sailed wide.
And Fritz now blows a first serve up the line and long at love 15. Big point here, big second serve from Fritz. Kicker to the backhand of Djokovic, gets in on him, jams him incredibly, and Djokovic just shanks it, almost hits the umpire chair with it. It's 15 all.
Yep, Novak was sort of locked into hitting a backhand return there. Had he slid to his left, he could have punished a forehand.
Almost like he was playing for a kick and it sliced into him. Either way, 15 all. Fritz bangs an ace down the tee. His 11th of the match, and it's 30-15.
And there's some angst going on with Novak in his box right now. So Gil would probably be able to hear what they're going on about, but that second serve return is really bothering Novak. That miss at love 15.
First serve to the Novak backhand. Good return down the tee off the Fritz. Big first serve. Now Novak's forehand into the Fritz backhand. A backhand into the Fritz forehand now. And now Fritz goes inside out down the line to the backhand. Backhand reply cross court from Fritz. Again, Fritz now down the line to the forehand. Novak has a forehand that he tried to open up the court with and cooked it long. He was trying to put a little air under it to move Taylor off to his forehand side, put a little too much air under it, and it's 40-15.
Yeah, Taylor got away with one there. That backhand was middle and not very deep, the type of shot that he's trying not to hit. He's got a little reprieve there with Novak just blasting the forehand long.
40-15, points for 4-3. Big first serve down the middle of the court. Taylor tries to go inside out in the forehand, but just misses the serve plus one forehand by mere millimeters, and it's 40-30.
Yeah, and he's at that incredible rate of 87% of points won when he makes the first serve, so that's a rare blemish.
Another point for 4 all from Taylor Fritz, and knocks an ace out wide. A cool dozen for Fritz, and it's 4 all in the fourth.
And this is where the composure really gets tested here, deep in the fourth set. This is where Novak has come through so many times before. He can rely on his serve to be accurate, locks down on ground strokes. Let's see if he goes with the serve volley here in this game as well, because that has really been a tactical shift as the match has worn on. He's employed the serve volley quite frequently.
Here comes Novak Djokovic up to the line at 4 all in the third, leading 2-1 over Taylor Fritz. First serve down the tee. Djokovic serving and volleying. Little dropper on the forehand volley as Fritz is well behind the baseline, and it's 15 love.
Well, I think what I sense here is that Taylor Fritz's returns as the match has gone on have just lost a little bit of venom. So I think that Novak's feeling like, oh, I can follow my serve in here and get a cheap point and not be so fearful of Taylor ripping the return by him.
15 love. First serve right down the tee, catches the top of the net. Would have been an ace, but instead it's a first serve again for Novak Djokovic.
Much harder to serve volley to the backhand, of course, court, because the wide serve is into Taylor's two-hander, which he has far more control over.
So first serve again for Novak Djokovic at 15 love, and he goes flat wide towards the Taylor Fritz backhand after getting a second go at it when he went down the tee on the first time. And Taylor has to guard against the forehand because it's been so damaging to him.
Immaculate precision from Djokovic there with the wide serve.
30 love now at 4 all in the fourth for Novak Djokovic. First serve into the forehand, a serve and volley, a beautiful backhand volley behind Taylor Fritz that Fritz gets to, and then Novak knocks off the angle backhand volley winner. That's some old school stuff from Novak Djokovic there. and beautiful at that.
Pat Cash or Pat Rafter would have been proud of that serve volley. That was a more powerful return from Taylor as he tries to adjust and make his first return more damaging, but the backhand volley was up to the task.
40 love from Novak Djokovic. Looking to go 5-4 in the fourth. First serve into the backhand, a backhand return into the top of the net. Djokovic holds it love. Fritz will serve to stay in the match when we come back on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Back on Arthur Ashe Stadium on US Open Radio, presented by American Express. Russ Thaler, David McPherson in studio. Gil Gross, sideline at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Novak Djokovic up 2-1. Taylor Fritz serving at 4-5 in the fourth to stay in this thing. First serve into the backhand and Novak. And Taylor Fritz blows a backhand down the line long for love 15.
Yeah, trying to be assertive, which has been a path to success for him, but that time just not executing his backhand down the line.
Love 15, first serve. Taylor Fritz into the backhand of Djokovic, pops a backhand return to the forehand side of Fritz from the middle of the court. Fritz whipping one cross court to the forehand of Djokovic. Deep reply down the middle of the court, and Fritz missed a forehand. It's love 30.
Just spectacular Djokovic defenses he's so renowned for. Giving himself an opportunity here. Taylor's blinked on a couple of balls.
First serve at love 30. Taylor Fritz looking for the ace down the tee, and now a second serve look for Novak Djokovic, who steps way back to return the second serve. Fritz spins it into the backhand. Djokovic returns to Fritz's forehand. Now cross-court backhand to the backhand of Fritz. Down the middle to the forehand. Now Fritz running Novak to his forehand side. Fritz going down the line to the backhand of Djokovic. Djokovic to the backhand of Fritz. Fritz backhand to the cross-court. Slice reply from Djokovic. Cross-court again from Fritz to the backhand of Djokovic. Forehand from Djokovic to the backhand of Fritz. Slice backhand from Djokovic and a backhand cross-court from Fritz. Topspin backhand from Djokovic is wide. And it's 15-30.
What an amazing job from Taylor Fritz, just locking down there, just refusing to miss when Novak himself was in that mode of locking down. He was so determined not to make a mistake there, but Taylor Fritz won the protracted baseline rally to keep his hopes alive back to 15-30.
And it was Novak, hands on the knees after that point. Taylor looked fresh as a daisy.
Still 15-30 at 4-5. Taylor Fritz serving up against it and misses another first serve, looking for the Djokovic backhand. Now a second serve at 15-30 from Taylor Fritz. Djokovic up on the baseline, takes this return into the backhand of Fritz, who goes cross-court to the backhand of Djokovic. Fritz goes down the line to the forehand of Djokovic. Now Djokovic, cross-court forehand into the forehand of Fritz. Fritz is behind it, hits it wide, and it's 15-40. 2 match points now for Novak Djokovic.
Out of nowhere, because Taylor's been holding fairly comfortably throughout the set, but Novak can see the finish line. He can smell blood in the water. He's prepared to run any amount of distance to get to the ball now.
Taylor Fritz.
Very hard to get a winner on.
Match point down, 15-40. 4-5 in the third. Novak Djokovic awaits the first serve offering from Fritz, who goes down the tee. Foot fault called. It's a wide serve anyway. And now it's a second serve on match point against for Taylor Fritz. Djokovic way back to return with his backhand to the backhand of Fritz. Fritz down the middle of the court to the backhand of Djokovic. Djokovic cross court back to the backhand of Fritz. Djokovic deep into the middle of the court. Fritz hits with a forehand. Fritz backhand to the backhand of Djokovic. Fritz backhand to the backhand of Djokovic. Back to the middle of the court. Forehand to the forehand of Djokovic. And now a slice backhand from Novak. Fritz takes the forehand inside out. And Djokovic nets a backhand. Fritz saves a match point. Djokovic has his hands on his knees, is breathing heavily, but he'll have a second match point when Fritz steps back to the line.
Another long 20-plus shot rally that Taylor Fritz has won here with his back to the wall. Incredible powers of concentration to out-rally Novak Djokovic with the match on the line.
Match point number 2 for Novak Djokovic. Taylor Fritz serving at 4-5, 30-40. First serve, again, misses into the net. That time he was looking for the Djokovic forehand. Djokovic standing right on top of the baseline to return the second serve. His backhand reply is deep to the forehand of Taylor Fritz. Fritz forehand to the backhand of Djokovic, who goes cross-court to the backhand of Fritz. Now forehand inside out has Djokovic moving and down the line. Now Djokovic moving to his forehand side, rolls it to the backhand of Djokovic. Fritz, cross-court backhand, forces another error off the backhand of Novak Djokovic. Fritz puts a fist to the sky. He's saved 2 match points, and it's deuce.
And all 3 points he's won in this game have been on incredibly grueling rallies. Novak definitely had a look at a backhand down the line winner there. Had it not been such a huge point, I think he could have executed that. But with the match on the line, he chose to play safe, and this time Taylor Fritz comes out on top.
Steely nerve from the American to save 2 match points and push this 4-5 game in the fourth back to deuce. Djokovic still 2 points away from the semifinals. Fritz, first serve offering at 4-5 deuce, misses into the net, trying to go wide to the Djokovic forehand. Second serve coming from Taylor Fritz. Djokovic up on the baseline to return. Forehand return into the forehand of Fritz. Now a backhand to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand from Djokovic cross court. Fritz replies backhand to backhand. Fritz inside out forehand into the backhand of Djokovic, who goes down the line and just misses wide. Djokovic's backhand was just wide. It would have been a clear winner if it was in. Didn't miss by much, but Taylor Fritz, after saving 2 match points, has a point for 5-all in the fourth.
And he's done it all with the ground strokes. The first serve hasn't found its mark in this game.
Here's a first serve at add in, and it's in to the backhand of Djokovic. Forehand to the forehand of Djokovic. Fritz has to move forward, but he retreats after hitting a drop shot. Djokovic gets to it. Fritz goes topspin lob, and just long from Taylor Fritz. He had it, and he missed it.
And yes, just by the barest of margins. A shot that he would make under normal circumstances, but there's so much tension right now. Incredible speed from Novak Djokovic to get that drop shot. Moving like a gazelle, late into his 30s.
Fritz had that topspin lob lined up, and he bites his shirt.
Taylor wants to serve. Novak's not ready. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. Taylor Fritz up to the line, 4-5 deuce. Pounds one into the backhand of Djokovic. A reply right down the middle. Inside out forehand clips the line on the backhand side of Djokovic. Now a slice from Novak to the backhand of Fritz. Backhand to backhand they go. Cross-court backhand from Djokovic. Down the line backhand from Fritz. Now a forehand down the line from Fritz to the backhand of Djokovic. Djokovic hard and flat into the backhand of Fritz, forcing the error. And it's a third match point now for Novak Djokovic.
Great job by Novak there, taking the initiative, taking a fraction more risk, getting his body weight into the backhand and adding 20% more velocity, and that made the difference. And that's what he might need to do to convert this match point. Taylor Fritz is not going to give it to him.
Match point number 3 for Novak Djokovic. Taylor Fritz serving at 4-5. Here's the first serve down the tee into the top of the net. Djokovic has a look at a second serve. Here comes Taylor Fritz quickly into his windup. Djokovic deep to return, and it's a double fault. A double fault from Taylor Fritz. And 3 hours and 24 minutes, Novak Djokovic is into the semifinals of the 2025 US Open with a 4-set win over Taylor Fritz.
That's a tough way to lose it. What happened right in between first and second serves is Novak once again backed up all the way to the back fence, basically daring Taylor Fritz to just roll in the kicker. And that's just been a little bit of a chink in his armor. He decelerated on the second serve and it sailed long with the lack of spin.
Novak Djokovic pantomimed drinking something from a cup and then does a little shimmy. Taylor Fritz sits on his bench and throws his towel down in disgust. His first double fault of the 4th set is the one that ends this match in 3 hours and 24 minutes. 6-3, 7-5, 3-6, 6-4. Novak Djokovic is the first man to get to the semifinals in every major in 7 different seasons. Incredible.
Yeah, Taylor was so solid from the back of the court in that last game. He just could not buy a first serve to get a free point. His serve just betrayed him at the worst of times there.
As Fritz packs his stuff up, we'll hang in here on US Open Radio and listen to the on-court interview with Novak Djokovic when he gets up ready to go. Taylor's wrapping up his wet clothes and towels, and he's going to pack up his bags and leave. And Novak Djokovic is into the semifinals where he will face Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall order, but what a Herculean effort from Novak to make another semi-final with so little preparation. Hadn't played since Wimbledon, so there were some question marks about his fitness and endurance. And he came up really huge there deep in the 4th, applying the pressure to the point where Taylor Fritz blinked on the last game of that 4th set.
Taylor Fritz, a wave to the crowd as he leaves the court. And Novak Djokovic will have the interview on court afterwards. By the way, Novak Djokovic has won the last 2 matches and 3 of the last 4 he's played against Carlos Alcaraz, and 4 of the last 5, as a matter of fact. Their last meeting at the Aussie Open in the quarters this year, Novak beat Carlitos in 4 sets. Here's Novak Djokovic after his win over Taylor Fritz in the quarterfinals.
Congratulations. That was such an intense, competitive final game. How were you able to pull this off in 4?
To be honest, I don't know. It was incredibly close match. It was really anybody's match. I thought I was lucky to really save some crucial break points in the second set. I think for most of the second and third set, he was a better player. And in this kind of matches, few points decide a winner. You know, it was fortunately coming on my side, particularly end of the 4th. That last game was nerve-wracking. Honestly, tough one for Taylor to finish up with double fault. He didn't deserve that, but great fight and great tournament for him for sure.
Taylor seemed to take control of that 3rd set. What did you think of your response in the 4th?
Look, as I said, you know, I didn't feel like I was dominating today from back of the court. You know, in many of my service games, I was just trying to stay alive, fight for every ball. He was aggressive, staying close to the line. So not easy to play him. You know, he's been playing some really good tennis this week. But look, in the end of the day, win matters. I'm really proud of the fight that I put in, and I wear my heart on my sleeve always for this sport, so I'm still enjoying it.
Your daughter celebrated her 8th birthday today. While she, of course, wants to be with you, will she be happy with this victory? Will this be a good present for her? Dad going to the semifinals?
Yes, of course. Well, It's 20 minutes to midnight here, 2nd September. It's my daughter's birthday, so this is a big present for her. Actually, the dance in the end, it was, I probably, she's gonna rate me tomorrow. How was the dance? Because she told me how to dance. It's K-pop Demon Hunters. Soda Pop is the name of the song. Obviously, it's a big thing globally for teenagers and for kids. But I didn't know about it before my daughter told me a few months ago about it. So we're at home doing different choreographies, and this is one of them. So hopefully I'll make her smile when she wakes up tomorrow morning.
I think you will. Congratulations, Novak Djokovic.
Novak Djokovic dancing into the U.S. Open semifinals. He is now 14-0 lifetime in quarterfinals at the U.S. Open, and he has matched Jimmy Connors for the most semifinal appearances in the Open era here at the U.S. Open. He improves to 16-0 against players from the United States at the U.S. Open, and Gil Gross had an eagle-eye view courtside on Arthur Ashe Stadium, and I'm curious as to your thoughts on Novak's play and Novak's form heading into his semifinal against Carlos Alcaraz.
Well, Djokovic has won so many matches like this in his career. The scoreboard was his best friend. He thrived under pressure. The scoreboard was Taylor Fritz's worst enemy. Taylor Fritz dominated with his first serve for a period of 1 hour and 20 minutes. He was unbelievably deadly all throughout the third set and all throughout the beginning stages of the fourth. When it was 4-5 and Taylor Fritz took the line, he knew he had to hold or the match was over. And his first serve fell off a cliff. And Novak came up with some phenomenal defensive plays in particular. I think of the Love 15 point, which was vintage with the sliding forehand defense. So he knew that he had to lock down in that moment, and Taylor was likely to blink because of the scoreboard pressure. But you know, this is the crazy thing about this game. If you were watching the stat sheet throughout the match, you would have seen Taylor Fritz looking really good throughout the match. But when it comes to the scoreboard, it was Djokovic looking a whole lot better throughout because he was playing the big points better. It was just amazing to see the difference there, because all in all, other than that, this was a fantastically competitive match where these two men were going toe-to-toe, and there was almost zero between them.
Well done, Gil. Good job out of you down there courtside at Arthur Ashe Stadium, and good job from Novak Djokovic beating Taylor Fritz in 4 sets. Maka, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yes. Well, I thought this Novak had a few more tricks in the bag as well. The serve volley play in the 4th set, when it would have been hard work to hold, staying back the whole time, he deployed that tactic really well. And I thought Taylor Fritz from the baseline got better and better as the match went on. Honestly, it was just that little lack of first serve percentage made in that critical 10th game that cost him. 1 or 2 more first serves and we'd still be playing right now, I'm sure. So heroic effort from Taylor. His time is coming. He's knocking on the door. I am pretty confident that he'll be a Grand Slam champion pretty shortly here. He's really filling in the holes in his game, and he's such an alpha competitor. His time will come.
Next time we see Taylor Fritz, it'll be wearing the red, white, and blue for Team USA and Davis Cup action in Delray Beach, Florida, after the U.S. Open as they take on the Czech Republic. Tomorrow at the U.S. Open, day 11, more quarterfinal action. We'll see Jannik Sinner taking on Musetti and Felix Auger-Aliassime and Alex de Minaur. And then on the women's side, quarterfinal action between Karolina Muchova and Naomi Osaka, and then Amanda Anisimova and Iga Swiatek as well. Dave Leno and Patricia He get you going at 10:30 a.m. here on U.S. Open Radio. For David McPherson, Gil Gross, and our entire crew, I'm Russ Thaler. Thanks so much for joining us on day 10 of the U.S. Open, which is now done, and it's all been brought to you by American Express. Match point number 3 for Novak Djokovic. Taylor Fritz serving at 4-5. Here's the first serve, down the tee, into the top of the net. Djokovic has a look at a second serve. Here comes Taylor Fritz, quickly into his windup. Djokovic deep to return, and it's a double fault. A double fault from Taylor Fritz, and 3 hours and 24 minutes Novak Djokovic is into the semifinals of the 2025 U.S. Open with a 4-set win over Taylor Fritz.
You're listening to U.S. Open Radio, presented by American Express. Coverage will continue when play resumes. Make sure to tune in for the next chapter of Spectacular. You're listening to U.S. Open Radio, presented by American Express. Coverage will continue when play resumes. Make sure to tune in for the next chapter of Spectacular.